dragons flew, but Emmy and Max knew what to do. They climbed on the backs of their dragon friends. Now the adventures never end. Dragon tales, it's almost time for dragon tales. Come along, take my hand, let's all go to Dragonland. There's Ford, he's the biggest, not the brave of heart. There's Cassie, so shy, also very smart. There's Zack and Wheezy, and these tales are fun, 'cause you know two heads are better than one. Dragon tales, it's almost time for dragon tales. Come along, take my hand, let's all go to Dragonland.
Hello! Welcome to Shadowrun Dragonfall. So last time we killed some racists. Most of them were kind of kids, but, you know, they were still racist kids, so... Like KKK racists, not, like, post on Facebook that they don't like black people racist, but... If you're going to draw a distinction. Alright, so yeah, we just got back. Let's, we gotta talk to him. Let's go talk to everyone else first, I guess. I like to see Lane leans on his crutch while staring into the Berlin sky. Oh, excuse me. Nothing moves above but gray clouds. This faraway luck is only broken when you approach. Something I can do for you? Just checking in. I appreciate the effort you're making, but you got some big shoes to fill around here. Well, Monica was important to this place. You have no idea, but I imagine you soon will. So Monica's our deceased boss slash friend. Kind of held this little community together, apparently. Nothing stays secret for long in the F state. The flux demands transparency. The truth will always get out. And the truth about Monica's death is now on the breeze, flowing through the streets of Berlin. Next come visitors of uncertain intent. Some may be bottom feeders, sniffing after the leavings of the dead. Others will be hunters, looking to exploit a leader of this tribe. We're all stepping up to fill the void left by Monica. The old troll rubs a thumb pensively across his single unbroken horn. You might have something there if you can keep that group together. There are trying times ahead. Seen it before. Too many times before. I don't really feel like bothering about the war. I'll get to talk to... What's her face? Isn't that? Oh, no, that's her. Okay. Let's go talk to Zack Flash real quick. Doubt he has anything new to say. Welcome back, meine Freundin. What can old Zack get ya? I already did this. Already had that dialogue. We can talk to Simmy. She's addicted to Sims. It's basically VR video games. Sort of, like cinematic video games. Simmy Kim weaves an awkward dance through scattered refuse. Her two thin legs wobble, but she keeps her footing throughout. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. It's not a literal sun, silly. It means tomorrow will be a better day. Monica used to say something like that. When I was tired, when I was sad, when I only wanted to sleep, she would tell me that. She would told me I would forget, that the pain would go away. I lived many lives, but I've been an orphan more times than anything. It was the first story I found when I needed to get away. I mean, I don't know that getting her off The Sims is actually gonna help her, considering her life kind of sucks. And I don't really have a way to make it better. Kim turns her head so as not to look you in the eyes. Her posture is that of someone who fears the possible repercussions of her answer. Wow, she's scared of me. It's good. I get what I need from Zach Flash or Doc Esquivel, and they let me pay however I can. Oh, I hope that's not... Monica was always nice, and Paul Amsel, and the Angel is nice to me too, usually. I know Monica's gone now, but I can still stay, right? Of course you can stay. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I don't know also what to do. Alright, we'll ask, I guess. But I need them. Monica understood that, and Zach says that they're safe. I don't know what to do without them. Without them, I dream, and I don't want to dream. I don't want to remember. They help me forget, help me be strong and smart, and I never lose anyone. That makes it a good thing, right? Wow, I have no options to say that are like, to like go along with it. These are all just variations of no. I'm gonna go with maybe someday you won't need them. Maybe. Let's see here. I don't expect there to be anything new in the phone booth. Oh, that's right. I gotta do this. Alright. So we got 500 for returning the donor list to the KKK people. Like, the donor list of the KKK people to the people who wanted that information to, you know, go after the donors. Not returning a donor list to the KKK. Let's go down here and talk to, yeah, what's her name? Lucky Strike. Lucky Strike raises an eyebrow at your approach. A burning cigarette dangles between the fingers of her right hand, and she holds a glass of scotch in her left. Cade Wolf, fancy seeing you again. I was hoping you'd want to chat. Yeah. Oh? She takes a drag on her cigarette. Well, color me intrigued. What do you want to talk about? Finding much work lately? Yeah, but the Quartz Bazaar is the best place to do it. There aren't a ton of jobs out here if you don't have a network. You don't have people in the Quartz Bazaar? Nope. My crew is in Mitta. There's lots of work out there if you can handle it, but life isn't as pleasant there as it is in the Quartz Bazaar. She gestures with her cigarette, the tip glowing red in the gloom. I mostly visit your lovely little Keats between runs to restock and relax. It's a good place for that. Nice and slow place. Slow paced. It's... She pauses for a moment to search for a word. Quaint. I'm supposed to be interested in taking a permanent position on my team. I'm gonna guess the answer is no. Don't suppose I would. Like I said, I've got a team of my own. Good people who've earned my loyalty 100 times over. I could do a little moonlighting here and there, but they wouldn't take kindly if I up and bailed on them. She takes a number sip of scotch. Better than it stay like this. If you need me for a ride, I'll be available. You just need to pay me first. Keep things clean and simple. That's fine. She doesn't really like me, but she's a cool lady. Bartender here any good? Nope. It's called Der Weinkeller for a reason. The guy behind the bar is more like a Bush League sommelier. I don't know. I'm not going to try that again. I was like, that's not right. I'm not going to try it again. And then he is a proper bartender. Knows a bit about wine. When it comes to mixing drinks, he's useless. If you want a drink, I'd recommend sticking something simple. Try ordering something with more than 2 ingredients and you're asking for trouble. Are you a wine drinker then? Me? No. Never developed a taste for it. She tilts her glass, swirling the amber liquid inside. I'm not a big fan of sweet things. Never have been, not even when I was a kid. I've always preferred smoke. God, this is like... This is very silly. If you don't like wine, why hang out in a wine bar? Because it's usually empty in here, and I don't like to be bothered. As hopeless as the bartender is, it's tough to mess up scotch if you order it neat. Now, do you have another question, or...? I know it's the cyber clinic. Need a little thing popping up. I just clicked on the door. Okay. What's that over there? That'd be that street? That does not seem to correspond to this building. I think that's supposed to be that street. But that doesn't correspond to the angle. Let's see. This is the old guy. Can't talk to him anymore, I guess. Oh, who are you? Maintenance worker. It's the maintenance worker. He knows I like orange. I think it's a conspiracy. Yes! So, should we get a better weapon, or better weapons for... Tiger. It would help if I could actually look at what they are, what they have, but I don't remember. I can't look at it. And, okay, I can sell some of these though. Sell the gun or the pistol, not the AK. Probably not the Mossberg. I think that was better than her shotgun when I looked at it. Sell the nitro. Hello, Fiona. I hear you're running shadows. We're running in the shadows. Yeah. So I got a flashbang grenade. I got a bunch of grenades. And I guess I'll probably use those. I feel like. So we can sell those. So we got new stock, which is good. Better stock. Let's talk to the maintenance worker, who's available to talk to you for some reason. Hey buddy, sorry to bother you, but I can use some help over here. Make a little extra scratch. Shouldn't take too long. Wow, that guy looks... What is he doing with his mouth? It's like a... How's my audio, by the way? Although I guess there's not a lot of audio right now. It's just like the background ambience, so... Sure, what's the problem? Well, me and my buddy Victor got called in from the next heat's over. Something's wrong with the sewers around here. Oh god, am I gonna have to go kill sewer rats or something? Your local plumbers and mechanics are all useless. Vic and I talked to him, tried to get him to give us the maintenance schedule for your sewer pumps. They just scratched their heads at us, said that the machinery down there just took care of itself. My guess is that your pumps have shut down. Happens from time to time without proper maintenance. Audio's fine, good. I have two robot friends following me. I have a little tank guy and a little flying guy. When the pumps shut down, the waste starts piling up, and it's causing some pretty major overflow problems downstream. Go on, I'm listening. Well, Victor went down to the sewers while I was getting stuff out of the truck. When I came back, well, I was about to climb down there, but I heard these awful screams. They went on, and then they just stopped. I froze up. Nearly shit myself, to be honest. I don't know what to do, but I can't go down there. Not after that. Problem is probably something basic. Clog needs to be cleared, something like that. Restarting the pumps should take care of it. But no goddamn way am I going down there. If you'll do the job for me, I'll give you the new yen or paid for it. I don't need it. You can have it all. Really? I can live without the money. Someone's got to fix those pumps before I can leave. I don't know much about Shadowrun. I pen and paper RP'd like 15 years ago. I was a lady who was a badass shooter lady who had an artificial penis. That's okay. That's an interesting character. So people aren't weirded out that you have robot friends following you. No, they don't. They don't really. I don't know that they have any scripted responses like that. I also don't know that people would be weirded out. I mean, I guess they are like industrial military, you know, weapons, but I'm a Shadowrunner. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm assuming when he says when the other guys are like they just fixed themselves that that was Monica. So it was really important that I had that penis. As soon as I knew I could have one, it was in the rules. I was like, I want one. You're a lifesaver, Chopper. If you find Victor, well, he's still alive down there. Tell him I'm sorry. Alright, so where's the... Okay, there's the sewers. We will... We'll go back over there in a little bit. Go to Talismonger's shops. Check out all the shops, make sure everything's good. Chalice is gone. Or Algernon, whatever the hell his name was. Welcome back to Algernon's. Enjoy your time here in the light. A half smile flits across her lips. Soon enough, you'll be wallowing in darkness. That was an awfully strange way to open a conversation. Was it? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend. I merely comment on what I can see. I can't... What? I can't ask her about any of that? Like... Oh, okay. Was he? I didn't see him. He's usually standing over... Oh, okay. He's here. Hello again. May I help you? Sure, let's look at your stuff. Not that I want to know. I'm just kind of curious about all the costumes. Some of them have hoods. Hoods are good. Maybe I should play the next game as a mage. I haven't played as a mage. Oh, I can ask him other questions. Oh, yeah. Algernon, what do you know about the Great Dragon Fjordswinger? The elf ponders for a moment, twisting a ring on his right hand. Fjordswinger, the Fire Wing. That is a name that has been heard in some time. Over 40 years, I believe, but I cannot say for certain. Time and I do not get along. She was among the first of the great dragons to awaken, and the first to be killed by meta-humanity. Or so the story goes. So the story goes. Of course, history is a version of past events that people have decided to agree upon. Truth is something else. Absinthe interjects. A great dragon is not like other awakened creatures, whereas a basilisk is nothing more than a Komodo dragon whose genetic structure was mutated by magic's return. Wow, I did not know there were basilisks in Shadowrun. That's hilarious. A great dragon is a creature of magic, a creature that has seen more than one cycle of the world. This is the sixth. Right, this is, there's actually, is it Earth Dawn? I don't remember what the game / setting is, but there is there's a partner RPG to Shadowrun, which is the actual, like, fantasy magic age of that world. I think it's Earth Dawn, which is like, you know, the first age or the second age or something. I don't know what age it is, but when a great dragon falls, the sound resonates across time and space. And therefore you would know? He opens his hands. I am merely suggesting that the story is incomplete. Yes, there are dragons, and they're bad, Fiona. Fjordswinger awakened, along with Lofweir, Nebelhair, and Kaltenstein. Are they all German? Around the first decade of this century, she was first seen over the Hartz Mountains, and after a long flight announcing her presence, she began raining fire on every town and village she came across. Oh no, bad dragons are sad. I want good dragons. This is not a good dragon. I don't know that there are good dragons in Shadowrun. There might be. I don't know enough about the setting, but the ones I know of are all bad. Some are not as immediately destructive as Fjordsuga, though. Nasty beast. Why the attack? Think she was protecting her lair? No one knows. Fjordsuga was never engaged in dialogue. German military forces are said to have killed her over the Sox the year she emerged. This after months of fire, devastation, and terror. Her body was never recovered. Whenever I hear the body was never recovered, I immediately think, faked her own death. That's accurate. Beware the holovids, my friends. They will rot your bane. Nonetheless, it is possible that the fire wing still exists. We pretty much know that the fire wing still exists, but we're not sharing that information, I guess. Dragons are cunning. Quite cunning. And a sealed emergency zone is, by its very nature, sealed. We cannot know what happens inside with certainty. One must wonder what effect the radiation from a nuclear meltdown might have had upon her. My god, magic and radiation together? Any theories? Algernon crossed his arms across his chest. No, I do not deal in theory. Despite her death, there was a rumor that she had been seen over Iceland sometime after the fall, but it has never been confirmed. Some speculate that the viewer witnessed her astral form, and that her body still lies in the socks. Oh, I wanted to also ask him if any of his friends would know. Okay. I'm gonna guess the answer is no, none of his friends would know, but, you know. Seems like a useful question to ask. Let's talk to Cammy. Cammy brightens up as you approach her, grinning widely. Hey there. Excuse me. Altug was just telling me you were around. I was wondering if you might be willing to trade a story or two. I haven't talked to Altug. How does he know I'm back? What are you looking for exactly? The girl taps a finger thoughtfully against her chin. Well, you're new here. I know that you knew Monica. I've got a vague idea of what went down the night she died. But I want to know what you think your most exciting adventure has ever been. Hang on. How the hell did you hear about that? I mean, we just got told by the other guy that the story is kind of going around. She smirks playfully. Remember, I'm Altug's ears and hands outside of the cafe. We share a lot of intel, he and I. So what is the story between you two then? She glanced away briefly before turning her gaze to you. I suppose I could tell you. If Monica's thing was a secret of yours, it's only fair, or if the Monica thing is a secret of yours, it's only fair I share one of my own. I never really went to school. I've pretty much been a street kid as long as I can remember, and there was so much to learn from people outside of school, I never really bothered. It makes it difficult to get a job, so as all good street kids do, I chose a place to haunt with my friends and always hang out there. That was Altug's Cafe, and he was super nice about me and mine. I felt more comfortable with him than I ever did mein Vater. I'm missing a with, I guess, but okay. Her eyes narrow only the briefest moment at the word. And we talked a lot when I was waiting around for my friends. He must have been fairly comfortable with me too, otherwise he would have offered me a job. What is it that you do, really? Technically I'm the barista, but like I said before, ears and hands. I run his errands, I gather gossip. Sometimes I even make coffee. I much prefer his hookah options, though. Real coffee makes me feel paranoid. Speaking of which, I should probably get back to work. See you around. I didn't actually tell her anything. She's like, I want a story. And I was like, what story? And then I didn't ever never told her a story, so. Altug smiles at you from behind the counter. Welcome back, Honored Defendant. How may I serve you? Alright, I don't need to talk. We're good. Okay. Oh, let's go talk to Malit. Oh, I hope she's got my drone done. Got that drone fixed yet? I do, just finished before you arrived. There's a complication though. What is it? The drone's got a custom I/O stack on it. Someone wrote code that sits on the bootloader and configures the drone to only accept commands from a specific user. The thing works like a computer virus, so there's no way I can rip it out unless I got another brain from this model of drone. Before you ask, yes, I looked into that. Problem is, this is a stolen corp drone. A discontinued model of a stolen corp drone. There are no parts for this thing on the market around here, so unless you know who locked this thing up so tightly, you're not going to get more use out of it than a doorstop. I don't remember where I stole this drone from. I think it was somewhere in the hotel. Drek. Well, I'll ask around for its owner. Thanks. Alright, does she have more? She does have more stuff. It costs more, of course. So we've got a ground-based firepower. It's like having another runner on the team. Medkits and concussion grenades. That's kind of cool, maybe. I'm gonna definitely want that. So this is the one I have. 2 armor plus 1 intelligence. Good protection. Decking and drone integration. Okay, bye Fiona. Enjoy your dinner. This is 6 armor, that's much better. Very expensive though, but plus 1 decking and plus 1 drone combat. That's pretty good. Combat medic armor. Plus 1 intelligence, plus 1 boost, plus 1 weapon attack. Not useful to me, but cool. Industrial strength overlord, over coveralls. Okay, plus 1 intelligence, plus 1 drone combat, plus 1 intelligence, plus 1 decking. Look at that thing. Fancy. I want to look at what my, right, drone combat is that one. Plus 2 armor, plus 1 AP, that's really good. So yes, if I get to, I should probably just do that right now, to be honest. Alright, that unlocks A drones, gives me plus 2 armor. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna get 5 decking. Alright, so if I got the plus... Hi kittens. Can you get out of my face, Dio? Thank you. Get your butt out of my face. So if I got that one, it would be good, but I don't know if I need the money for anything else. That's always the question. Also maybe want to save up money for this thing, but that plus AP is really good, so I think I want to get this. Then I can equip this. What just happened? Why is my... There we go. Okay. Okay. Now I can sell the one I just had, the one I had, for at least a little bit. It's not going to be worth very much. 150. Okay. Zoom in. Oh, do I have like sunglasses now? That's pretty funny. And like a weird like. Oh, I've got like the fucking like parka vest. Those are so dumb. It seems appropriate. Right. Let's go talk to this guy. Hello again, meine Freunde. What can I do for you? I've uncovered what Humanus is up to. You'll find the details on this datapad. Beckenbauer eyes the plans on the datapad, then nods grimly. This fits with Humanus' established pattern of behavior. Horrific and vile. According to this datapad, Humanus compounds all over Berlin have received similar shipments. They're planning to deploy the gas tomorrow morning. He exhales sharply, then nods again. I have a feeling that the Flethick state will have a thing or two to say about that. Stahl has overstepped his bounds. His hubris will be his undoing. Actually, I was his undoing. Volker Stahl is no longer among the living. That is excellent news. I am not ashamed to say that I wish the man dead. He deserved whatever you did to him. And now I'm going to see to it that the rest of his twisted organization suffers in the same way he did. You mark my words. Within the next few hours, the Humanus Polo Club is going to take a hammering that will make the Night of Rage look like a peace rally. I owe you a great deal, Kate Wolf. We all do. I will wire your payment to the account number that Amsel provided. Why are you doing business with you? Okay. Did we get the money? Or is he like... Where's my money? Where's my money? Oh, there it is. 600. Okay, we have not got the money. Although I don't know how much he's going to pay us. Enter the sewers. Wow. I wasn't expecting this to be a thing. This is an optional objective. It is. Okay. I guess we'll save first. I mean, I guess it did make clear that... Why can I not save here? Okay. Maybe I couldn't save because I was like... Alright, assemble the team. Yeah, Iger. Can I not change their equipment? I thought I could lend them a thingy. Oops. They definitely need to get some upgrades to their armor. Maybe it's the next thing that I get to equip them. Or not. I don't know. They're like, come on, this isn't really a big deal, guy. Just go with it. Sewers. A ghostly labyrinth of tunnels and dead-end passageways makes up the network of sewers beneath the Kreuzbazaar. You climb down the ladder into this shallow underworld and reel at the wave of foul smells that washes over you, clogging your sinuses and saturating your clothing. As your eyes adjust to the light, you find yourself standing at the edge of a narrow channel of murky gray-green water. The rush of churning water echoes down the tunnel. You catch a flash of motion in your peripheral vision, something man-sized, moving fast, flitting across the far end of the tunnel. You strain your eyes to see it, but to no avail. The thing, whatever it is gone. Hi, SL. Sewers. Oh, okay, here we go. We're dealing with our... Okay, so I want to go give this to Iger. And this is better. This is just straight up better. So let's give her that. Yeah. Stuff. Oh, you can actually give him a spell, I suppose, if I buy one. Well, I guess I could see her stats here. So... Let's see. I mean, we shouldn't need any of this, but feel like of the consumables, so sure, should be good. I feel like this should be a small mission. Fix the water pumps. Locate the missing maintenance worker. Okay. Pumps. Operations control. Pump 1 is stopped. South turbine water flow. Failed. South turbine has been deactivated. Steady waterfall has been stopped. Pump test running past. Pump is operational, but not shooting full water flow. Okay. Status 2. Pump status. Okay, South turbine has been deactivated. Pump has been clogged. Clog cannot be resolved until water flow has been restored, and the pump is shut down completely, then restarted. Alright, so restart the southern turbine or whatever, and then we also have to metahuman bones have been picked clean. Well, that's not good. Okay. Corpse mangled beyond all recognition. Let's not mess with the controls yet. Oh. This corpse has been eviscerated. Its limbs have been torn clean off, and its rib cage is oddly deformed. The tattered shreds of a blue maintenance uniform hang loosely off its chest. Great. Search the body. Find a well-worn manual entitled Wartungshandbuch, Ausgabe 2042. I'm not going to try to say that in German. Zweitausend Fear and no, 2042? Something like that. The book is filled with depictions of turbine and pump cross-sections, tools, and descriptions of maintenance procedures. A few of the pages have been bookmarked with colorful bits of paper. The page is dominated with a detailed illustration of a turbine cross-section. Scrawled in the margin is a number, 822896. There's some notes written in the margins of this page, but you don't recognize the language. The only word you make out is computer, written several times. Alright. Maintenance gas code. Okay. Yeah, let's not go up there immediately. Let's go back down. Be right back. Okay, let's mess with this. Activate the turbine. Uh, 822896. I could bypass it, but activate the turbine. Turbine whirs to life. Okay. Oh, hi. What are you? Why are you running away? Feral ghoul. Okay, ghouls. I mean, they seem like they're, seem like they're melee only, so I mean, I think the one's closest first, but that's also, please use your pump. They do have armor. That's really relevant. That's good. Missed. Keep my drones. Oh, that's 3 actions. Okay, you missed twice, but it's still really good. Okay. Oh god, there's another one. I guess this thing does do a lot more damage if it actually hits. Of course, there's also the problem of... Wow. Wow. Why? I don't understand that. I do not know how the 2-hit works in this game. You should help these ghouls build a rocket instead of fighting. You know, you still had to kill a lot of feral ghouls in that too. Alright, there we go. Pull out of this because I'm a little worried about it. Yeah, I was purposely worried about it. I don't think it's gonna hit. But you can do that. Good. Did it hit? We need to kill all these guys. Really? Hey, kid. Alright. Did. Yay! Nobody got hurt. It's important. So we can do this. Oh, okay. So we gotta go to this place. Religious school looking for a land called their own. Oh, hi ghouls. Hi. I feel like that's not a thing you should be able to do, but... That's good. Really? Okay. Managed to kill it. This, I think, requires a knee shot here. Good. Then... probably just full out of it. Okay. That's fine. I'm gonna get hit. Nope, didn't get hit. Okay. Also, why is there one down there? What the hell is that thing doing? You're also a terrible pistol shot. I guess you could just use your actual claws, can't you? You hit one. Missed one. There you go. It does so little damage. Okay, there's another one down here somewhere. Unfortunately, I can't overwatch with my drones. At least not with these drones yet. So that's sad. Oh, there he is. Oh, that was good. Good job, Iger. You're so... Glory, you're just kind of the worst. Alright, let's reload. I don't know what else we're supposed to be doing. Or where else there's a guy. Must be the... Oh, there's a guy there. There we go. Operations control. Okay, go up here. Get whatever this is. Just money. Sure. Breadstick. Hyper. Inside of your stash. Sell it for money. Restart pump 2. There we go. Oh, hi! Oh, wait. A shambling mound of ragged flesh tumbles toward you. There's a look of desperation in its eyes. Please don't shoot! The ghoul's breath reeks of rotting meat. We're not like the others. Also, did my camera die? Oh, it did die. The hell? I was like, there's a kitten there, and there's not one on screen. Huh. Weird. Alright, I'm gonna start the camera. I mean, it talks to us. The other one just attacked us, so I believe it. Ghoul's voice comes out in a rasping sob. Thank you, stranger. Considering my condition, I had all but given up hope. Who are you? I speak for the Kreutzbazar's ghoul population. The Krieger strain may have ravaged my body and feebly paws the gray, pustulant flesh that hangs from its bones. But I have retained my mind. Sorry, I'm getting this camera started. Krieger strain. It nods. Of HMHVV, the virus that has infected us, that has twisted us into this. That's unfortunate for you, buddy. Okay, I'm gonna go tell the camera to refresh. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. So pretty. We are not monsters, ma'am. We are people with an illness, incurable for now, and yet some of us cling to hope. You may think of us as lepers if you wish. We've lived down here under the Kreutzbazar for years. For all that time, this place has provided refuge from the world above. We traded our labor for sustenance, both for ourselves and for our feral brothers, and we survived. But now our food supply has been interrupted, and the feral ones have gone mad with hunger. They're a danger to everybody, even us. You worked for food? Who was feeding you? I mean, come on. 3 guesses is the first thing I'll count. Oh. Not Monica. I was going to say Monica. The doctor, a topsider from your Kreutzbazar. He kept us fed. The contract guaranteed it. Under the terms of our deal, we maintained the pumps that keep the Kreutzbazar's sewage flowing. In return, the doctor gave us medical waste to eat. With proper rationing, we found that we could get by on what he gave us. Medical waste? Does he just mean bodies? The Decker monitored both sides to there's Monica, to ensure our mutual cooperation. But with her death, the doctor has reneged on the deal. Without the food guaranteed by the contract, the feral ones have gone mad, and in their madness they have made it too dangerous for us to maintain the pumps. Was this Dr. Decker named Monica by any chance? Yes, that was her name. Doctor? You mean Dr. Esquivel? Yes, his contributions kept our community alive, helped us thrive. But now the Decker is gone, he has demanded payment for our feedings. We have no money, but he does not care. He tells us that we must find some, or that he will let us starve. So, was Monica paying him? Like, why wouldn't he come to us and ask to keep the deal going? Or did Monica just, like, strong-arm him into this? You were the reason why the sewer system took care of itself. Yes, in truth, we still work on the pumps, even without the doctor's payments. We love our occupation. It helps us to feel human. But the changes wrought by the Krieger strain requires us to eat human flesh. If we don't, we wither and die. That's quite a thing. Without regular feedings, we will have no choice but to hunt for our food. Yes, please, whatever you can do. Our situation is desperate. I'm gonna have a little talk with Dr. Esquivel. Yes, perhaps you could convince him where we could not. We have a comm link provided to us by the doctor. It is the Decker. It is a direct line to Esquivel's office. If you call him, he will answer. Alright, alright. Do you have anything for me to steal? No. Why is it not activating? There we go. Pick up the comlink receiver. It's a custom job cobbled together from a jumble of high-end parts. It reminds me of your mission computer. Monica's handiwork. There's a series of staccato clicks as the connection is made. Dr. Esquivel's voice powers into your ear. It's thick with a blend of irritation and insolence. If you're calling me to beg again, you might as well hang up now. I've been bled by you people for too long now. There are plenty of chop shops and organ leggers out there who pay good money for... Let me cut you off right there. This is Cade Wolf, Dr. Esquivel. Cade Wolf? Esquivel tries to hide the surprise in his voice. He doesn't do a very good job. What are you doing on this line, my friend? I've just had a very interesting conversation with some of your long-term customers. I don't know what those things have told you, but those are not my customers. They never paid me a thing for my services, and... they've been keeping the Kreutz Bazaar sewers running, Doc. Well, yes, but I don't know why it's my responsibility to pay them for. You signed a contract. I expect you to honor it, yeah. Contracts don't last forever, and you'll forgive me for saying so, but I see no good reason to continue honoring this one. My clinic is a business, not a charity. I'm not giving your new friends any more biomaterial unless they pay me for it. What do you mean by that? Sorry, I kind of skipped through that dialogue. He's like, you can't tell everyone about this because they'll come down here and kill the ghouls. I was like, well, the ghouls won't be here because I'll tell them to leave before they get here. But you'll still be here. Okay, so he says, what do you mean by that? Knife cuts both ways, Doc. What do you think your neighbors will do when they find out you've been feeding human flesh to a pack of ravenous ghouls for over a year? The whole plan was your friend's idea. Your sainted Monica is dead. This is how I do business. So tell me, what's it gonna be? Tell your friends I've changed my mind. Their feedings will resume directly at no additional costs. Probably made him mad, but, you know. I don't intend to really buy anything from him. I spoke to the Esquivel. You can expect your regularly scheduled feeding to start up any day now. Thank you so much, Topsider. This means more to us than you can know. I assume we can leave by going back out here? I assume we just leave now. I'll leave the sewers. Right over here. Yep. The fresh air of the Kreutz Bazaar is a welcome relief after your time in the sewers. A cool breeze drifts across the street, carrying with it smells of food being prepared, cheap alcohol being poured, and fires being lit against the cold. The stench of the sewers, however, still lingers in your nose, a bad olfactory aftertaste. At least the pumps are working again. Sewage overflowing into the streets would certainly smell far worse. Well, they said it wouldn't overflow here, it would overflow downstream farther, but, you know, still. Drac, finally. I was worried that you wouldn't come back either. So tell me, what happened? Everything go okay? It's taken care of. You can leave after you give me my money. What about Victor? Your friend isn't coming. I'm sorry. Christ, poor Vic. I don't know how I'm going to tell his folks. Real close-knit family they were. I found this on his body. Maybe you could give it to them. Hey, thanks. He turns the manual over his hand, rubs his thumb over the careworn paper cover. They'll appreciate it. Yep, giving him the manual that he had. Here's the money I promised you. Alright. I mean, I guess that's something. So, I wonder what happens if we go talk to the doctor. I assume he's pissed. Or he just disappeared. Oh no, he didn't disappear. It's like... I hope that our recent misunderstanding won't have an impact on our ongoing business relationship. Misunderstanding, Kate Wolf? I'm sure that I don't know what you were talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're not hearing me. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't... Nobody in the series know nothing of my extracurricular activities. As long as we're on board with that, our business together continue unabated. Deal? Deal, Doc. Good. Okay. Sounds good. So now we just gotta go do our actual thing of, you know, talking to... Hey, Blitz. Blitz's eyes widen when he sees the drone that you're carrying. He looks anxious. Oh, hey, Chief. How's it going? I found this drone in the hotel room. Does it belong to you? Yeah, Chief. That's mine. I didn't want to say anything at the time, since it was my idea to have you loot the vault in the first place. What was it doing in there? It's my personal drone. Good to have something to hide behind when you're on a solo decking run, you know? Luster took it from me when she seized control of the Schwarzerherzen. I've been hoping to get it back ever since. I gotta say, Chief, it hurt me to see her all bunged up to hell like she was. Looked like Luster had a few of her goons take turns on my baby with a baseball bat. Looks like you even got her up and running again. How'd you manage that? Malit fixed your drone. She says that it won't listen to anyone but you, though. Score. So, can I have it back? Sure, it's no use to me anyway. Hey, Chief, you need something? Great, Chief, I'm doing just great. It's real nice to be able to wind down and relax for a change. Yeah, we talked about that already. Okay, here we go. Well, wait. Oh no, okay. How long were you in Dragonfall? I ended up there after the anarchist revolution of 39. I was just a kid back then. Too young to realize how good I was, how much money I could have made working in the shadows. Oh, okay. Oh, I guess we gotta do this. We can't seem to advance this dialogue without being rude to him, so... You were a member of a drug gang. Why should I trust you? Why wouldn't you, Chief? I mean, look at me! Does his best to give you a winning smile. I'm a trustworthy guy! Tell me about the gang that you ran with. Well, I don't know all that much, Chief. I wasn't a member of gang leadership or anything. I'm not really sure why you care either. But consider it a test. You know where your loyalties lie. He rolls his eyes. That's what it'll take for you to trust me. Fine. Anything for you, Chief. I haven't gotten the option to have any other dialogue with him, so as far as I can tell, I have to do this if I want to advance his dialogue at all. Well, where to begin? When I first arrived at Dragonfall, I spent some time taking in the lay of the land. The Schwarzerherzen was still a pretty small gang, strictly street level, but I could see they were going places. I did a little pro bono decking for their leader, a fat little dwarf named Dieter. Soon enough, I was part of the family. For a drug gang, the Schwarzerherzen were decent enough folks. Made a lot of money with them. Helped them take the hotel in the first place. Had a lot of good years there. Then Dieter was killed in a firefight and our happy little family fell apart. Is that when the hotel got attacked? Blitz takes a deep breath, shifts the weight from one foot to another. Not exactly. The Schweitzer maintained their hold on Drogenkippa, but the change of leadership was bad news for me. After Dieter kicked the bucket, his second-in-command took over. She was a real piece of work. Called herself Leonie Luster. She had a vicious streak a mile long, and she was none too fond of me. So this is the Luster version that he just mentioned, which we hadn't actually heard of before. I can't imagine why not. I know, what's not to like? Maybe she felt threatened by my friendship with Dieter back before he ate that bullet. Or maybe she was just jealous of my rugged good looks. Who the hell knows? The point is, she went after me. Vigorously. Within 24 hours of Dieter's death, I had a price on my head, and then the hotel got taken over. So that's what you need to know about the Schweitzer. They were a great gang. Powerful gang. Helped to make it that way. Then they had a management turnover, and everything went to hell. Blitz rocks back on his feet, his head in his pocket. That's it. End of story. Anything else you want to talk about? Wait a second, that isn't it. There's some pretty big holes in that story. Come on, Chief. This is all ancient history. Wouldn't you rather talk about the future, the runs we're going to go on, all the money we're going to make? Blitz, tell me what happened between Luster putting the price on your head and the hotel getting attacked. Alright, Chief. Fine. That's what it'll take to make you happy. So I was in a bind, right? The members of the Schweitzer who were loyal to Luster were all out for my blood. None of the others were going to stick their necks out for me. The advantage of being a ganger is protection in numbers. When those numbers turn against you, you gotta get creative if you want to stay alive. What did you do? Blitz taps the plastic of his data jack. When I had to. Luster had declared war on me, so I retaliated. And I won. All without ever firing a shot. That's not an answer. Blitz sighs. Don't be satisfied until I spell it out, will you? Okay, fine. I hacked into Luster's computer and sent all of her information to a rival organization. Remember Frank from the hotel? He was my liaison. They hit the Schweitzer and they hit him hard. Then they took the hotel. And then they took me. I'll admit that the plan backfired a little. I mean, they were trying to kill him. I wouldn't call him a traitor. You did what you had to do in your place. I'd probably have done the same. Blitz lets out a sigh of relief. Thanks, Chief. I knew you'd understand. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to what I was doing. Gives you a lazy salute. We'll talk later, I'm sure. And Chief, I'm glad to be a member of the team. Do you have another run lined up for us yet? I'm strapped for cash. Oh, thank God. And thank you, Chief. Thank Paul, too, come to think of it. So, did you have a question for me, or is this a social call? Why are you so strapped for cash? All the work we've been doing should be rolling in you yet. What can I say, Chief? He tries on a thoroughly unconvincing smile, but immediately seems to think better of it. The anxious look returns to his face. I have expensive taste. How expensive are we talking here? Even if you have a raging crime habit, I think you'd have at least some money left. Expensive. Truth be told, I'm in debt. In debt? To who? To whom? Doesn't actually matter, I just prefer saying to who. He hesitates before responding. When he does, his voice carries an edge of annoyance. No offense, but this is getting a little too personal, Chief. My debts are none of your business. If some bookie sends his thugs here looking for you, it's gonna become my business. So talk, now. Blitz shakes his head in exasperation. Alright, fine. First off, you don't need to worry about anyone coming after me. My debts are to a bunch of old contacts. If I don't pay them, I'm gonna lose them. And in this line of work, it isn't smart to burn bridges. Second, before you ask, those debts are for services rendered. I was in a tight spot, I needed some help, and I threw around a lot of IOUs to get it. Third, and finally, the trouble I was in involved a girl. I'll tell you about it if you ask me to, but we're verging deep into personal feelings territory. So if you don't want to hear me sob over my ex-girlfriend, you'll drop the subject now. So it's up to you, Chief. You really want to go down this road? Or shall we keep the relationship professional? The last thing I want to hear about is your love life. Well, it's kind of true, but also... You're clearly preoccupied with this. In our line of work, preoccupied can get you killed. So spit it out, we'll deal with it. Gotta be a counselor to everyone. Blitz meets your gaze for a moment and looks away in sighs. Alright, where to begin? I meet Amelia? Or Emily? I'm not sure how that should be pronounced. In Dragonfall. She was the first person who was ever more important to me than myself. I was crazy about her, Chief. To this day, she's the only person I've ever met who could outdeck me. And the real kicker is that she wasn't even a decker by trade. There was nothing she wasn't good at. I like to dabble in rigging, but... Emily, the girl could pick up anything as she set her mind to. So that's the same thing I'm doing. I'm a rigger slash decker. Sounds like a hell of a girl. She was. She made things right. No matter how stupid I was, no matter what I got myself into, she made it right. I don't think much of many people, Chief. Emotional attachments aren't really my thing. Love seems like a diluted word these days, so I won't waste it on Emily. Let's just say she was important to me. And then I lost her. I didn't know what was happening. It came out of nowhere. One day she was just gone. Along with most of my decking gear. The only explanation was a handwritten note on old-fashioned paper. Leave me alone. That was it. We've been together for years, and that was all she left me. That and this beat-up old cyber deck. Naturally, I freaked. We'd had our share of arguments, but we never had a huge blowout or anything. Couldn't think of anything that drive her to do a thing like that. Mostly I felt hurt, so I searched for her in the real world and in the Matrix. And when that turned up nothing, I started tabbing my contacts, and that was when I started racking up debt. So, did you find her? No. She's gone. Without a trace. I looked high, I looked low, poked into everything I could think of. My contacts did the same. He shakes his head. She's gone, Chief. At this point, I've accepted that. But I still have to repay those debts. I mean... I feel like the game is probably like, oh, she was like, something bad happened to her and she was forced to run or something, but also, like, the reality is would be that he was an asshole and was completely oblivious to it because he's a shitty person, and she just finally left. So, I feel for you, man, but you're right. Best to leave the past in the past. Pay your debts and move on. Yeah, you're right. Of course. Thanks for the talk, Chief. So I guess we caught up on his talks that we have not done so far. Let's get Dante. Let's give him some good pups. Pierre. Off. Talk to Dietrich. You really came through for me, boss. You ever need anything from me? Anything at all, and you call on me. I'll come running. How's Alexander holding up? He's a good kid, that nephew of mine. Give him some time, he'll shake Stahl's programming. It might take a while, but he'll adjust to life here in the Kreutz Bazaar. In the meantime, I've found a good home for him. Samuel's agreed to take him in. Is that wise? Samuel's employees have no love for humanists. Most of them don't even like humans. Best thing for the kid will be to learn through immersion. If he stays with Samuel's group, we'll have no choice but to interact with metahumans. Soon enough, he'll learn they're no different than anyone else. First 2 days will be rough, no question. But he'll make it through. Come out the other side a better man for it. I mean, he's definitely a tough kid. That's not. I mean, he was gunning down his friends. That's not a question. You've done your part. It's on him now, one way or the other. He nods grimly. Yeah, that's right. It is. When push comes to shove, he'll do the right thing, just like he did with Stahl. Now on to other things. Remember when I was telling you back before we climbed into the van? Yeah, you were saying the Dragon Slayer was happy that you'd been given a reward. That's right. Thanks to our, let's not miss words, heroic actions back in that swine pit, the Dragon Slayer has seen fit to grant me his favor. His grin widens. And now I know what that means and what I can do with it. I'm listening. Well, he has seen fit to grant me a new ability. Gestures at the ground near his feet. Namely, this. I don't have to wear shoes anymore. Magic feet. As you watch, the spot that Dietrich is pointing to begins to glow. Lines of force spread out in a scintillating web, and a feeling of raw power suffuses your body. I've just torn up open a channel between myself and the Dragon's Lair. That power you feel is his power, pouring through the ether and into that spot. If you're familiar with ley lines, it's the same basic concept. I consecrate a patch of ground, and as long as I stand in that spot, all my magic gets stronger. Crosses his arms over his chest. Not bad, huh? Oh, Dietrich, not bad at all. Pretty good, ain't it? Never heard of another shaman who could do something like this. Must have really made an impression. Anyway, boss, I want to keep filling with this, learning to properly control it, and I'm sure that you got things to do as well. You take care of whatever else that needs doing, and by our next round, I'll be ready to use this. Sounds good. You too, boss. Let's see, what's that? Let's talk to Iger. As you approach, Iger turns to face you. Her rifle has been field stripped and is lying in pieces on a sheet of butcher paper. Arranged in a neat row along the edge of the paper are bottles of copper solvent, bore cleaner, and lighter fluid. Our fearless leader returns. What do you need? Any thoughts about that last run? Nothing we haven't already talked about. I'd like to hear about your time in the KSK. She shakes her head. No, I'm not in the habit of sharing war stories. Not with people who've never served. It doesn't have to be a war story. Just want a better idea of who I'm running with. She looks at you in the eye for a moment, evaluating. Finally, she shrugs. All right, Cade Wolf, you win. I owe everything to my time at KSK. My street name on down. So tell me what you want to know, and we'll see where this goes. Tell me how you got a street name. Back when I was in basic training, our fellow recruit made a vulgar joke at my expense. He said that I reminded him of the north face of the Eiger, the Bernese Alps. Huge and beautiful, but dangerous to climb. His tone left little doubt as to what sort of climbing he had in mind. I think that he's trying to proposition me in his clumsy way, poking me in front of the other recruits to try to provoke a reaction. She shrugs. Anyway, he got one. He broke 3 of his ribs, and the name stuck. So I'm not supposed to butter her up, even though this is kind of what I feel like, actually feel like. So I'll just say, remind me not to proposition you. Frown crosses her face. Either you're trying to be cute, or you completely missed the point. Neither would surprise me. Yes, I'm trying to be cute, Iger! I didn't break his ribs because he propositioned me, Cade Wolf. I'm not a goddamn savage. Put that recruit down because he demeaned me. He did it in front of our peers. So you got angry, and you attacked him. That about right? Yeah, it is. And I had a damn good reason to be angry. If you can't see that, you're even more clueless than I thought. I know, I understand, Iger, I'm sorry. God. One way or another, I was getting saddled with the name Iger. As soon as that 80 made his little joke, it was a foregone conclusion. The only choice in the matter was whether it happened under his terms, or under mine. If I hadn't broke that twit's ribs, the name Iger would have meant a difficult sexual conquest, a whole barracks full of recruits. So I would have been to them from that point on. Thanks to what I did, my new name meant that Trolley doesn't take shit from anyone instead. Which would you rather be? I'm sorry, Iger. You did the right thing. Damn right I did. On the field, nothing will kill you faster than losing the respect of your team. I'd remember that if I were you. You know, Iger, by that logic, I should have broken your ribs after Monica died. In your place? I would have. She looks up and down, praising you. Not that you'd succeeded if you tried, but in terms of saving face, it would have done wonders. In all seriousness, I'm sorry that I put you in that position. I shouldn't have, and I acknowledge that. Need anything else, or can we get back to prepping for our next run? Tell me about your team. Fair enough. I guess that you earned it. There were 8 of us. 2 commando squads working together as a single unit. Schmidt and Naga were the combat directors. Wolf was our rigger and combat engineer. Fisher handled demolitions. Brown was a medic, and the rest of us, Metzger, Kruger, and myself, were weapons experts. Our mission was extraterritorial. Technically illegal, but important enough to justify the risk. We'd been sent across the border into Poland. The Russian mafia had set up a cottage industry and human trafficking all along the Oder-Neisse line, and it was our job to disrupt it. Go on. We were a good team, experienced, went through a lot together, chalked up a lot of kills. In our own way, I'd like to think we did some good. Who was in command? Metzger. Best leader I've ever had the pleasure of serving under. Face clouds. He was a hell of a man. But he went down with the rest of the team. Everyone but me. What happened to the team? She shakes her head. No, that's one story I won't be telling. They died. That's all you need to know. Thanks, Edgar. So is there something else you want to talk to me about, or can I get back to cleaning my rifle? Sure thing, fearless leader. Good talk. Let's talk to Glory. What do you need? It's the same thing as always. Okay, I have a question for you, Glory. I'm not big on sharing sport, personal reasons. You understand, I'm sure. Sure, I understand, but I still need to talk to you. Glory lets out a weary sigh. Ask your questions, but do it quickly. I have things to do. This is another one of those. You have to kind of be a dick in order to actually initiate the dialogue, because I've been waiting to see if there's another way, but it doesn't seem like there is, so. I can't help but notice that you seem guarded, withdrawn. That's my problem. None of your concern. If whatever happened to you has impaired your ability to trust me, then it is my concern. Come on, Glory, talk to me. Trust is earned. I don't know you yet. Maybe later, we get to know one another, we can talk. For now, I prefer if you drop it. Alright, that's fine. So, we can't push her on that anymore. You can't have started running the Shadows much more than 5 years ago, tops. So what's with the vintage chrome? It was cheap, gets the job done. She shrugs. End of discussion. I don't think so. I've known a lot of street Sams in my time. I've never met anyone who voluntarily installed cyberware that old. You're right. There's more to it than I'm letting on. But I'm not interested in talking about it. Okay. Can we go back and talk to her again now? Ah, okay, now we got... Everything's still okay with you? You never need to worry about me. I'm fine. I'd still like to know more about the chrome you're sporting. It's not a story I'm interested in telling out of context. If you really want to get into it, we're going to need to go back. Way back. She stares at you with her cold, dead eyes. I'm not sure that you want to do that. You say that you can be answers when we talk about your past, so let's talk about it. Why do you care? Or, why do you care? There's no hostility in her voice. If anything, she sounds suspicious. Because I'm the leader of this team, and I need to know as much as I can about the runners who are working with me. She pauses for a moment, considering, then she nods. Alright, fine, we can talk. But we're doing it on my terms. This is a long story, Cade Wolf. Long and ugly and cruel. Are you sure you want to hear this? Please. Alright, I'm going to start at the beginning. Not for you, for me. I guess it might help me to say all this out loud. She takes a deep breath, then slowly releases it. When she speaks, her voice comes out in a cool monotone. My family lived in Stuttgart. I actually can't read this in monotone, which is funny. I need my, JC Denton voice to be summoned. It was a nice enough place, I suppose. My parents worked as wage slaves for the IFMU. That's too monotone, probably. My mom was a good person. Once upon a time, my father was a decent person as well. That's what Mom always told me, but I never knew him that way. She pauses for a long moment. When she begins speaking again, some of the ice has fallen away from her voice. For the first time since you met her, Glory sounds alive. The dad I knew was an old, damaged Euro-war vet who turned to hardline religion to make sense of the world. In Stuttgart, that meant either the Ritter Christi or their fascist cousins, the Kreuzritters. My father chose the latter path. I still remember hiding in my room when my father had his Kreutzritter brothers over for prayer group. They would drink and get rowdy, then spend an hour or two riling themselves up with talks about heretics and the devil's work. Then they'd go find some poor elf or dwarf, stomp the living shit out of him, and drown him in the Neckar. Meanwhile, I'd be holed up at home with Mom, who would commemorate the event by drinking a bottle of wine and crying herself to sleep. I mean, sir. I'm sorry, Glory. No child should have to grow up around that. Thanks. This is difficult for me. Thank you for making it easier. Anyway, aside from the fact that my dad and his buddies were a bunch of murderous assholes, life was pretty normal. I went to school, made friends, hung out with my mom, kid stuff. And then I turned 14 and everything went to shit. Glory pauses, then swallows hard. Ever so slightly, her cheeks flush red. Suddenly she looks self-conscious, as she just snapped out of a trance. As quickly as it came, the flush of emotion disappears, and her voice frosts over. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Airing this stuff out is clearly helping you to work through it. Yes, it is. Glory stares at you through cold, dead eyes. But I'm not going to be able to get through this in one sitting. You need to understand that. She turns away from you, her movements mechanical. Now, let's get back to the job at hand, shall we? Gotta come back after each mission, and then I'll have more story. For the first time since you met her, Glory's expression seems to brighten. It's subtle, but it's there. You're sure of it. A pleasure, as always. Need anything from me? If I didn't know any better, I'd think you were warming up to me. She studies her face for a moment, responding. I suppose you might say that. I don't talk to many people, Kate Wolf. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel much anymore. Not since she caresses the chrome of her forearm with a hand made of articulated steel. This. If that's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose because you've shown an interest. Because you haven't let me push you away. She locks eyes with you. Her expression is blank. I don't want to mislead you. I still don't feel anything. Not warmth, friendship, or even trust. But I can appreciate the effort you're making. It's something new, and it's worthy of exploring. Are you ready to tell me about the chrome? Oh. Anyway, we gotta go down to here because she doesn't want to talk about that until she talks about the start. You said that things went bad when you turned 14. I'd like to keep talking about that. She stares at you, her face expressionless. No, I'd rather not. My only option is to say, why not? I just have to be rude in this game a lot. Why not? Because I don't see a reason to. The memories are unpleasant, and dredging them up doesn't serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that. The last time we talked, it had an impact on you. There's reason enough to continue. This is just being therapist. She pauses for a moment to consider your words, a troubled look on her face. I suppose that's true. Feeling discomfort is better than feeling nothing at all. Alright, here's the deal, Kate Wolf. I'm going to talk. You listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaints, and no arguments. And we'll see what happens. Deal? Deal. Right. 1,000-meter stare creeps back into Glory's eyes. A moment later, she's locked away in her own head again, reliving memories that she'd long since filed away. So, a few days after my 14th birthday, I began to express magically. Go on, Glory. There's another long pause, and Glory becomes more animated. Anyway, I turned 14. I awakened. I don't even remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think my dad caught me playing with a tiny city spirit that I coaxed out of a pile of garbage. Something like that. With everything that happened afterward, those days are kind of a blur. What I do remember is my father's response to the revelation that his little girl was a witch. A hexa. He beat the living shit out of me with his fists, and then his belt, and then a claw hammer that he grabbed out of his toolbox. Jesus. Fuck. Okay. All the while my mother was screaming and flailing at him. She took a couple of licks with the hammer too. I would very much like to murder your father. Except I kind of suspect that's already happened. It's a miracle that he survived. I'm just lucky, I guess. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped tuning me up with the hammer. I had broken ribs, busted arm, couldn't see out of my left eye. My entire right side was covered with one giant bruise. I was bleeding all over the place, making a red mess of the carpet. The old bastard spat on me, his bleeding, crying daughter. He spat on me and told me I was des Teufels Hör, the devil's whore. And then he kicked me out of the house. As I was crawling away, my father told me that if he or any of his Kreuzritter brothers ever saw me again, they'd treat me as the Berlin chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the Kreuzritters here in Berlin deal with heretics, it's decidedly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies did to their victims. I got the hint, and the next morning I hitched a ride out of Stuttgart. Go on, Glory. I wound up in Tübingen. Figured it'd be safe enough place to find medical attention, maybe to call home. It's not far from Stuttgart, but it has a huge student community that I figured I could blend into, and the university there has a decent magic department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital. They patched me up pretty good. Had some questions for me about how I got so beaten up, but I lied and told them that I'd been mugged, which played nicely into my complete lack of cash, credit, and identification. Lloyd pauses for a moment and looks down at the floor, then fixes her eyes on you. She is visibly tense. We're gonna fast forward through the next few years. I was a kid on the street. I got by as best I could, doing whatever I could, or doing whatever I had to do. The rest we can leave up to your imagination. Good? Good. Glory's clenched jaw relaxes somewhat, and the tension drains out of her shoulders. Thanks. So anyway, I lived on the street for a few years. Got used to being hungry all the time. Got used to getting rained on. Got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talents, but without any kind of training or guidance, I didn't really know how to use or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So it just sort of went like that until a few days after my 17th birthday. Then I met Marta, and everything changed. Marta was a sweet girl. First I took her for a street kid like me. Her clothes were a little ratty. She seemed comfortable being near me. But she also looked well-fed and happy, and those are two things I hadn't been in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew what was happening, I was in love. There was a genuine attraction between Marta and me, I think. But I also think that a lot of my affection for her came from the fact that she was the first person in years to give a damn about me. She cared, and I loved her for that. Glory pauses. She looks flustered, composure cracked. Keep going, Glory. She stares at you for a beat and then nods. A few ragged breaths later, she continues. Marta told me about a place where she'd been hanging out. She invited me to join her there. It was called Fürstelle, the fireplace, and it was sort of a commune for dispossessed youth. Turns out that a lot of street kids I know over the years moved there. The way they disappeared, I assumed they'd been kidnapped or killed, or gone back to their parents. But there they were. I remember becoming kind of angry about it. Like, how did everyone get the memo about this but me? Marta calmed me down. She was good at helping me work through my feelings, and I wound up following her to Fürstelle. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Pero, had set up this little farm just outside Tübingen. Tübingen? I don't remember if the G is necessarily hard. I think it's Tübingen, maybe. In the Schönbuch forest. The Schönbuch is officially a nature park, but not many people go there nowadays. Too much fear of paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, park or not, it was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was also safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. Most importantly, Fürstelle gave us a sense of community and stability that we never had on the street, and we loved Harrow for that. He became like a surrogate father to us. Glory pauses again, and you recognize the distinctive flush in her cheeks. She seems to have come out of her reverie once again. That's enough for now. I need to process all this, and I don't want to continue forward until I've had the chance to do that. I know this all happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw to me, so I'm going to ask you to give me some space for a while. She turns away, and the frost begins to creep back into her voice. We can pick it back up later. Alright, we are caught up on her story. Her awful, horrible story. It's just like constant sadness. I mean, I guess we stopped off on a nice note, but obviously it's going to turn horrible because she hasn't gotten to all of her augmentations yet. I have news for you. In your absence, I've been looking into the Harfeld Manor. Whatever Fjordschwing is up to, it is both large-scale and well-funded. I've uncovered a money trail leading from holding companies all over the world to an offshore fund with a dummy address. From there, all of that freshly laundered money flows directly into the Harfeld estate. How much money are we talking about here? I can't name an exact figure, but we're talking about a lot of money. In the millions of new yen, most certainly. Whatever the Firewing is planning, she has access to all the resources she'll need to carry it out. But Fjordschwing was different. She didn't scheme or plot. She acted. Yes, and look where it got her. When the Firewing launched her attack on humanity, it was an act of hubris. She lashed out because she didn't consider our species to be a threat. It would be equally hubristic for us to assume that she will make the same mistake twice. I'll continue digging into this while you and the team tackle your next run. With luck, I'll have more information to share upon your return. One last thing. Malit was able to restore the readable surface of one of Green Winter's DVDs. If you'd like to take a look, you'll find it sitting behind the player. Just one of them? She's still working on the others. Many of them are extensively damaged, and getting anything off of them is proving to be quite a chore. She has told me she'll be in touch if and when she makes any headway. Thanks, Paul. Greetings. Amsel peers at you through the battered old pair of wire-rimmed glasses. There's something gentle about the man, with his silver hair and his tweed jacket. He's more like an aging art history professor than he does like a criminal go-between. Is there something that I can do for you? Got a question for you about the Kreutz Bazaar. Our little slice of heaven, isn't it? What can I tell you about our Keats? I'd like to get your take on some of the other people in the Kreutz Bazaar. Very well. Where to begin? Samuel Beckenbauer is a good man, perhaps a bit xenophobic, but this is to be expected. He stands up for the rights of the goblinoid races, the orcs and the trolls, yes, and they have been more vilified and victimized than any of the other metahuman breeds. What is important is that he is a leader and a healer, and that he helps those people. In the Soykauf shop, you will find Jan Goldschmidt. I tell you that you will find him there because he never seems to leave the place. Every time I go for coffee, he is there, sipping on the Soykauf. Beyond that, I cannot say what I think of the man. He's a jovial sack of fat. Perhaps if you speak with him, you could learn something more. There's gonna be something with that guy, isn't there? He's gonna have a big secret where he's I don't know, maybe he's an evil mastermind or something. Have you any more questions for me, or may I get back to work? I'd like to ask you about another member of the team. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you have any questions about your teammates, I recommend checking your mission computer. I know that Monica wrote dossiers on each of them. Amsel's voice is sad. She'd be the best qualified to tell you about their capabilities anyway. Sorry to bother you. Okay, we gotta open that, but I'm gonna be right back. It's not an actual pause, is it? I'm not sure. Okay, let's look at the DVDs. Load the second DVD. Play track 1. Screen goes black for a moment, then green windows appears on the screen. 2054, November 11th, 11/11. Alright, as I said in my last recording, I've been having trouble finding hard facts on Fjordschwinger, so I thought I'd open up things a bit. Let's see what the rumor mill has to say. Screen jumps and Winters reappears in a different location. He's now clutching a mug of soy calf in both hands, and there are bags under his eyes. Well, that was enlightening. Assuming any of it was true, that is. So the past 5 hours I've been poking around some of the crazier fringe theories related to dragons and the Sox. As a reminder, the Sox is an irradiated wasteland between France and Germany. It got zoned off back in '08 after the Cattenom-Gao reactor meltdown. Anyway, there are all kinds of rumors floating around about the place. I've heard stories about a walled city in there that operates on a survival of the fittest, kill-or-be-killed basis. Sort of like a nightmare version of Berlin. All the anarchy, but none of the stability that the F-state provides. Radiation poisoning, cancer, and mana pollution are all just icing on the cake. Is this like an obscure Shadowrun supplement or something? Hi, Fiona. Welcome back. So when Adrian helped the Luftwaffe shoot Fjordschwinger down, she crashed into the Sox. That much is well known. What isn't as well known are all of the modern-day myths that have arisen about her since, and tonight I've heard an earful. I chatted up a girl who claimed to be a ghost rat. That's a smuggler that operates in the Sox. She told me about a dragon cult called the Disciples of the Cleaning Fire. Apparently, these cultists worship some sort of radioactive ghost dragon. Could be Fjordschwinger, or it could be nothing, but it's worth digging into all the same. So the Sox is the Zone from Stalker. I did not know that this existed in Shadowrun. It's pretty cool. Another thing that my little ghost rat told me, the popular rumor in the Sox is that Fjordschwinger's astral form was, I guess you'd say, mutated by all of that background radiation. Some of the glow punks out there say that she'd shed her body like an old coat. Others say that she's trapped, doomed to languish as an intangible radioactive ghost. Do I have a dog friend now? Yeah. Well, I've had a dog friend. It's just he stays back at the apartment, our base. If you come and get him, he'll follow you around town when you talk to people, but he won't go on missions. It's Monica's old dog, our boss's old dog. So he gives you very sad looks whenever you talk to him, but you can pet him and then he's happy. I don't know how much credence to give any of this. After all, I don't have any proof that my ghost rat is even a ghost rat. She might be, but then she could also be a run-of-the-mill glowpunk. Or maybe she's just yanking my chain. She's never been in the Sox at all. Who knows? Well, it's food for thought anyway. I don't know whether the thought of some radioactive ghost dragon thing is any scarier than a genuine dragon is, but it's interesting all the same. Now the big question is, will any of us get me any closer to finding Adrian? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no, but you never can tell. Alright, that was track 1. It's track 2. This is November 12th, 2054, so the next day after that track. Alright, let's continue thinking outside the box. After the Dragonfall, the great dragon Kaltenstein came flying into the Sox to rescue the Firewing, but he was driven off, some say killed, by Lofweir and Nebelhair. So, what if there's another dragon involved in all of this? Winters grabs a thick, leather-bound tome from a shelf behind him, licks a finger, and begins to leaf through it. Alright, so let's run down the list of major dragons that could be helping her. First, there's the Golden Worm, Lofweir, the CEO of Seder Krupp, and quite possibly the single most dangerous being on Earth. This is the dragon that I know about. It's whole fucking... I love the CEO! Lofweir's a local boy, so he'd be in a position to help Fjordschwinger. He certainly has the financial capability to help her. He'd send a small army into the Sox if he wanted to. So he's definitely got the means, but I can't see how he'd have the motive. He actively prevented the Firewing's rescue back in 2012, after all. Same thing is true for Nebelhair, so let's scratch both of them off the list. He flips a page, frowning. We've got Aden, the Great Sharush. He's operating out of Turkey. By all accounts, he's not a fan of Lofweir, and they're actively competing for territory in the Middle East. So I suppose that could be considered a motive. Reviving the Firewing might cause problems for the Golden Worm. But would he risk a war with Seder Krupp by straying onto Lofweir's territory? Again, I don't think it's likely. Turns another page. There's Keladir out in Wales. Oh, there's a Welsh dragon! He's pretty heavily invested in Trance's neural net, so he's got the money. But he's too busy dealing with the BTL killer scandal that Trancis is going through out in London to get his claws dirty in the socks. Flip. Dunkelzahn out in the UCAS, which is United Confederation of American States? Maybe? Something like that. It's in the US. Or what was the US, because the US doesn't exist. He pauses, shakes his head, and he slams the tome shut. No, this is a waste of time. The more I think about it, the more convinced I am. The Fire Wing is acting alone. Dragons don't cooperate unless they absolutely have to. After all, why bother nicking nice with your equals when you've got an entire planet full of pawns at your disposal? They don't need to work together. They have us to exploit. Play track 3. This track loads. It's clearly corrupted. The screen fills with a meaningless stream of text. But is it meaningless? Is it? I'm not seeing anything obvious. Alright. Track 4. This file is partially garbled. You can recognize a few words here and there, but they're interspersed amidst a solid block of corrupted text. About Claire. Still my big brother. Still searching for Firewing. Swear to I will find you if it's the last thing I do. Not getting any closer. Swear to new research. Turning up. Don't know who. Okay. Track 5. File is corrupted. Screen fills with a meaningless assortment of ASCII characters. Is it meaningless? Play track 6. The screen goes black. Same digital chime that you heard on the Dragonfall DVD plays again. The Dragonfall DVD. Crackle of static fills the air, followed by that same, now familiar electronic whine. A few months later, the display goes live. Adrian Vauclair. Vauclair looks haggard. His eyes are heavily bagged and bloodshot. His hair is mussed. He holds a cigarette in an unsteady hand. Hermie. It's me. I can't sleep. I don't know where you are. Not having fun, no doubt. Maybe flirting with one of those unattainable beauties that you're always chasing. Tries on a smile, but it quickly disappears. Takes a drag on his cigarette. That's good. I want you to live a pleasant, normal life. After all, one of us should. Vauclair rubs his eyes. I can still smell the smoke, Hermie. It's almost a year later, and I can still taste the stench of burning corpses. When I sleep, I can hear the sirens, the screams. There's no sound in the world as horrible as a burn victim screams. The doctors would call this PTSD, I'm sure. They'd have me in therapy, maybe dose me up on SSRIs like they do to our veteran soldiers. He chuckles, then takes another drag. Quite the story for the tabloids. The great dragon slayer, Adrian Vauclair, mentally incapable of wrestling with his own demons. Oh yeah, Fiona, we heard a really rough story earlier from Glory, our cyborg. It was not good, so... He shakes his head. No therapy for me, and certainly no medication. Come on, man, it's not... We don't need to stigmatize this. I have a reputation to live up to, however poorly deserved it is, and however little I want it. Glad you might be, yeah, it was pretty... I mean, it's all in text, right? It's just her telling us about it, about her backstory, but it's pretty awful, and in some cases, fairly vivid. We're basically playing counselor to all of our squad mates, so... Our therapist. The dragon is still alive, Hermie. Of that, I'm certain. One day, I will find her, and then perhaps I'll be able to sleep through the night. That's not the way PTSD works, bud. Alright, we have finished watching the second DVD. I think we talked to everyone. If it's all in text, it's fine. That's that I can handle. Okay, yeah. Well, you can go back and watch it at some point if you want to get caught up. Oh, we got unread messages. Let's check our unread messages. We need to talk. Esquivel. What? Is this new, or did... Maybe I should have gone and talked to him first. We'd like to arrange a meeting between you and one of our representatives. You'll find him at the cafe nearby. His name is Luca Duer. Or Duer. He'll be expecting you. Come alone. Can I come with my dog and my robots? Does that still count as coming alone? From Metbach, from Gunari Metbach. Okay. If you value new hardware coming into the Kreutz Bazaar, we need to talk. One of my weapon shipments was hijacked by a local gang. Oh, I thought this was the start of a spam email. If you value new hardware coming into the Kreutz Bazaar, we need to talk. One of my weapon shipments was hijacked by a local gang. I can promise 500 new yen. And if you can recover the shipment, I'll have some new gear on the shelf. Come see me for details. Okay. Check the status of the Alice Fund. Current funds, 10,000. Yeah, we're not depositing anything from mine. Okay. Access to Shadowrun, BPS, whatever, BBS. Transis Highlander, best new. Oh yeah, that's right. Just got me one of these from a Transis Neuronet rep. Wants me to sell it in my store, so I took the puppy for a test drive. Signal quality is insane. Makes for a huge difference in comfort and decking fatigue. I can stay jacked in for hours and feel fine. I can stay jacked in for hours. Last session I had to set a timer just so I wouldn't forget to eat. Lumens. The specs on that thing look impressive, but I'm an Allegiance man. Does the comfort really make that much of a difference? My decks are generally beaters anyway. A Wraith-like 44. Allegiance? What are you doing with that thing? Playing video games? Any serious decking is going to require way more horsepower than that thing can push, even overclocked. Tolstoy. Only a crappy decker blames their gear. I do just fine, thanks. How much is Transis paying you to post this shice on here? Maelstrom. Let's see. Help! Drowning in junk messages. Hoy, chummers, I could use your help. Every time I jack into the Matrix these days, I'm flooded with junk mail. There's so much of it I can't even see. Can anyone help me? Rollin' Thunder. Great. Another newbie thinks he's on a tech support board. Hey, stuff it. I wouldn't ask, but I'm desperate. I can't deck like this. Alright, Thunder, calm down. It sounds like an ad bot is keyed into your deck. Been poking around anywhere sketchy lately? I don't need details. Simple yes or no will do. The Smiling Bandit strikes again. Ha ha ha. No, Bandit, I haven't been anywhere like that. I swear. Please help me. What you want to bet he gave his personal info to some scam site? I'll give you 10 to 1 odds. No, I don't think so. All he done was make an online dating profile. Let me guess. Meet and mate. How did you guess? It's not a real dating site, Thunder. It's a place where desperate people go to get infected with malware. But what do I do? How do I make it stop? I don't know. Buy a new deck. Best of luck. So, okay. Payment. Oh, good. Oops. Just trying to go. So, we do have these two. Okay, we have multiple open, but we can go, before we do any of those, we got some leads locally. Yeah. Okay, we do have a meet with Dr. Esquivel still, and we have, meet with Gunari about the missing shipment. Alright, let's do that. And we got some money. That's good. I wonder if we can go. We should be able to go buy a new drone to replace my one shitty drone. Hey, drones. Okay. Ground-based firepower. It's like having another runner on the team. Yeah, I think we want that. We can get rid of our Doberman. Again, I wish these had stats available. You could actually see them like the weapons do. Sell Doberman. It's 500. That's a pretty good deal. Or turn. Oh, I can sell the Hyper too. I'll pick that up. So we've got like what, like 20,000 in our Alice fund now. That's pretty good. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go talk to Escabel first. Actually, that's an optional objective. I don't know what he wants to talk about now. I was assuming that it was just like about the sewer thing that we already dealt with, but... Welcome back. I got your message. What do you want to discuss? Business. I have a job for you. I'm a little surprised that you want to hire me. We haven't always seen eye to eye. That's true, we haven't, but I'm confident that you're the right woman for the job. Well, why is that? Because I know that you're in a bad spot, and that you're going to need all the help you can get if you want to claw your way back out of it. As happens, I can supply some of that help in the form of cutting-edge biotech. Very helpful stuff for a runner in a bind. But before I can do that, you'll need to do this job for me. I bet I don't trust him. I don't like him, but I'll listen. Let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? Back before I emigrated here from my native Spain, I worked in partnership with a Berlin-based R&D lab. The biotech that we were developing was very hush-hush, very cutting-edge. Our arrangement was that I would bankroll their research and that they, in turn, would provide me with unique merchandise to sell in my clinics. Really, this guy owns, like, a franchise? He just looks like he's the guy, like, the local doctor at this one clinic. Like, it doesn't even look like he owns this clinic. But... Clinics? You had more than one? Oh, yeah, I can ask him. Certainly. I must confess that before I moved to Berlin, I was something of a celebrity doctor. I had a chain of triage clinics that stretched from Bilbao to Madrid. I was a very wealthy man. But then my name was slandered, and the fickle mistress that is public perception turned against me. An ugly business, I assure you. Even talking about my fall from grace makes my stomach turn. The injustice of it all is almost too much to bear. I'm sure it is. I came here to Berlin to escape all that. You came here to Berlin, the place where your former partners were, to escape that? The people who slandered you? Doesn't seem like the best plan. But I also came here to be close to the lab that I'd funded and the merchandise that I am owed. So let me guess, you want me to go fetch your merchandise? Yes, and to find out what happened to the lab itself. The facility's locked down, you see, nearly impenetrable, and I have no idea why. Oh, excuse me. As I was packing to move to Berlin, all was well. 16 hours later, I arrived to discover the building locked tight, with my merchandise inside. The Turk Al-Turk has been running surveillance on the site since I set up shop here. In that time, no one has entered, and no one has left. Whatever went wrong in there, it must have killed the research team. I want you to find a way into the building, recover the cyber tech that they were developing, and find out what happened to the researchers. In that order. If your merchandise had been sitting in this building for 2 years, why didn't you approach Monica about it? You did, and she said no? Who says that I didn't? I had a, let's just say, tumultuous friendship with your dear departed Monica. We had our ups and downs, you see, and on this subject, she was most certainly down. That was her choice. I am hoping that you'll be savvy enough not to make the same mistake. If the building has been abandoned, I'm surprised at the lot. Where's my just like, no, if it wasn't good enough for Monica, it's not good enough for me option? Like, where's my just immediate injection? If the building has been abandoned, I'm surprised that the lot it's sitting on has been gobbled up by some corp or another. Don't be. Back when I was a wealthy man, before my legal troubles, I paid the lease for a decade in advance. And before you say anything, yes, it was a huge expense, but what's locked away inside of that lab is worth 10 times what I've spent on it. I don't want anyone laying claim to it but me. Alright, let's talk compensation. What's in this for me? I can't afford to pay you a new yen. And that's your own fault, by the way. You shut off a good chunk of my revenue when you pulled that stunt down in the sewers. Oh, okay, so this is our repercussions. So we can't get paid for this. But what I can do is give you first crack at any biotech you recover from the site and make it available to you at a discount. This is top of the line where we're talking about, mind you. Better than anything else that I've got in stock. And because it's biotech, the essence loss from implanting it will be minimal. It's a good deal. Win-win for you, really. So what's it going to be? Will you take the job or not? I don't trust him, but also this seems like a thing I should go investigate. Alright, Doc, I'm in. Excellent. The facility that you're looking for is the former laboratory of Shadowrun Bioscience. Take the U-Bahn to the Adenauer Platz, and you're sure to find it. I want to look at his cyberware again. Is there anything that's actually useful for decking? Well, I don't need that. And the answer is no. Boost heart function, adds +1 to dodge and throwing weapons. Why throwing weapons? Well, I guess, okay, the +1 intelligence, maybe? I don't know how that works with being able to, if you can increase skills. If you can increase skills based on the implant, then yes, that's useful. Flash bulb in your eye to blind someone? That's sweet. That's cute. Let's go talk to our gun runner buddy. I got your message about that missing shipment. How can I help? Aye. The gang from a nearby Keats has been hijacking shipments bound for Kreutz Bazaar, taking money out of our pockets. I could use your help to stop that from happening. Your dear departed Monica used to provide encryption information and information control for the Kreutz Bazaar. Now that she's gone, we merchants have been having no end of trouble. The obvious answer is that a gang has been intercepting our communications. What kind of communications? Shipping manifests, payment orders, that kind of thing. Our group with an agenda can use that information to set an ambush, and that's just what this gang is already doing. Has been doing. Several cargo trucks full of goods have already been hijacked around to the Kreutz Bazaar. I had a tracking device planted on the last shipment that I sent out. Containers full of weapons and medical supplies. Sure enough, it got taken. I've tracked it to Gesundbrunnen. If you've never been there, it's a Keats built out of an old U-Bahn station and some old bunkers. Rumor has it a new gang called the Rabengeister is holed up there. I suspect the two things are related. So I need you to go to Gesundbrunnen, find the Rabengeister, get our goods back. I can offer you 500 new yen for the task. If we can recover our missing weapons shipment, I'll be able to sell some better hardware too. It's not a lot of money, but... Can you tell me anything else about this gang? The Rabengeister? Not much, I'm afraid. From what I've heard, the Rabengeister are tricky. They have a reputation for stirring up trouble, then disappearing without a trace. I would tread carefully in Gesundbrunnen if I were you. So, Geist is ghost. I don't know what the rest of it means. I don't remember. How do I get to Gesundbrunnen? Just take the U-Bahn. The line still runs, though not many folks talk about Gesundbrunnen anymore. The market there used to be something of a tourist attraction, but I think they've fallen on hard times recently. I'll take care of it. Good. It's about time I had some new inventory come in. And one more thing. I'm gonna need you to go light on this one. Take a friend along if you like, but no more than one. If you spook them, they could trust the merchandise. Best go quiet. Best go soon, too, before the trail goes cold. A stealth mission? There are no stealth mechanics in this game. Okay. Let's go see if Cammy has anything. I don't think she'll have anything new to say, but I just want to check just in case. Oh, did our people level up? Oh, they did level up. Okay, we need to level people up. That's relevant. Accuracy increased by 3%. Trusty submachine gun now increases 1 point of armor. Gain an upgraded med kit. Premium med kit. Heals a minimum of 30 HP. Places project on characters with 50% HP. I don't really care about either of those too much. Bound Fire Elemental, Bound Earth Elemental. I have literally no idea what these things do. Like, Fire Elemental sounds like it does more damage. I've never done this, so. Here, Frag Grenade. Or Flashbang Grenade. So this is an additional grenade, it says. Versus this is replacing her grenade. The flashbang's pretty nice. The 2 AP damage is good. Might take that. 2 AP means most enemies won't be able to fire. So that's oh yeah, we can look at this. Dodge, rifle, shotgun, good. Strength, throwing weapons, spellcasting, conjuring, dodge, good. Strength +1, intelligence +1, range combat +1, biotech +1, dodge +1, unarmed +1. Your pistol doesn't level up though. I guess your unarmed went up. I guess you get the upgraded trauma kit. I feel like we need it to be able to pierce armor, run into armor a lot. I don't really know though. Did those get confirmed? I'm not clear. They did? I think they're confirmed, but... Alright, okay. Wait, where's the... It's over here. Alright, let's go do a mission. So we have 2 to go to. Okay, let's go to the U-Bahn station. Let's do the stealth mission. We're only supposed to take 1 person with us. So we take Iger. Yeah, okay, it doesn't, it actually just doesn't straight up does not let us take anyone else. Because I don't know that I need anyone else. She's got some... Huh. I didn't know that she had that much stuff on her. Alright. I'm taking the stealthy person on the team. Person who carries an assault rifle, a sniper rifle, and a shotgun into battle. And uses all of them. It's a short train ride to Gesundbrunnen. You exit the subway car, stepping onto an old, grungy platform. The place is deserted, though signs of life are everywhere. A gaping hole in the ceiling filters cool, hazy light in from above. To your right, a small plot of crops struggles to endure in the cold and the limited light of the station. Trash and junk litters the platform. It's clear this place hasn't had anything resembling a janitorial staff in quite some time. Somewhere in this old, rundown U-Bahn station lies the entrance to Gesundbrunnen Kiez, and hopefully some leads on the whereabouts of the Robengeister and Gunnari's missing shipment. Alright, so we've got our guys. Yeah. So we want to replace the shotgun, and we want to... I need to do that. Okay, put the AK there. Put this, yeah. There we go. Place that. Do we want to give her... Yeah, so she's got a grenade, she got that, she's got her flashbang grenade now, which is pretty good. We don't have a trauma kit if we need one. That's the only thing. Maybe we should have her carrying a trauma kit just in case. Sure. Look at my available karma here. It's a lot of damage. Don't want to spend it. I don't really want to spend that. Oh, I can't get to it yet. I need 8. Okay. The old fluorescent grow lights are barely keeping the plants alive. Snow light from the surface makes it this far underground. It's cool, I like the little plants there. The stairwell down looks to have completely collapsed. Okay, so I guess we're not going down that way. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Just a couple of guys. It's far enough, friend. The older man raises his hand, squinting as you approach. To his left, a young orc shifts his weight, resting one hand casually on a pistol at his hip. That is not at his hip. That is in his hand. Both are dressed in what might be considered uniforms, but it's hard to tell for sure. Cowboy uniforms? They're in dusters. We don't get any visitors down here these days, and you'll forgive me for saying, but, well, you don't really look like the type that usually comes through here. She looks fed, for one thing. The older man snorts. Indeed. So what brings you to Gesundbrunnen, stranger? We lie. I'm just passing through. Thought I'd check out the market here. Of course, of course. Customers are always welcome. Head on in. Watch your step on the ladder there. Some of the steps get slippery when it's cold. Thanks. And I am parched. This feels like a trap. The man before you is of average build and in nondescript dress. He's leaning against the old wooden cabinet reading a book. As you approach, he looks up and casts a warm smile in your direction. Guten Tag! Name's Corin, my friend. Can't say I've seen you around these parts before. Just passing through, or... what can you tell me about this place? Gesundbrunnen? Well, it's my home, for one. We've got a small bar set up over there. But, of course, you'll want to know about the market. His eyes light up. It used to be something to behold, my friend. One of the grandest markets in the city. You can find nearly anything in these stalls for the right price. It's a real shame, but little by little things slow down. Folks stop taking the subway line so much. But I guess that's the way of the flux. Not asking anybody about it explicitly yet. Seems like a bad plan. What is going on with this elf bartender, I guess? And this lady's dancing by herself, just having a good time, I guess. You know, good for her. Whoa! That's quite an outfit. The woman starts a little at your approach, but she recovers quickly and beams brightly at you. The fox face on her headdress seems to grin as well. Her classically nasal American accent is obvious. Classically nasal American accent? What is it? Like, hey kiddo, share a drink with me? Like, what is... I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Sure, if you're buying. Awesome. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of options here. They got beer, a homebrewed gin, and schnapps. Pick your poison. I've been drinking gin and tonics. The tonic cuts out some of the gas flavor. I think they've been distilling in old propane tanks. Yuck. I'll have one of those too, then. Sure thing, lady. He fills a tumbler full of cheap gin and dirty ice. Splashes a bit of tonic in and slides it across the bar. It has a slight gasoline smell to it. I don't want to drink this and end up being drugged or something. Everything here is creepy. So what's a girl like you doing in a place like this? I'm just traveling through. I heard there was a market, but, well, just look at this place. She waves her arms around in a wide circle, taking everything in from the sadly shimmying woman to the near empty corridors outside. It is a sadly shimmying woman. So I'm just having a drink with this fine gentleman here and then moving on. Where are you from? California Free States. Doing the whole Europe troop tour thing, you know. Besides getting me out of the hellhole, it's been a real good learning experience. Had some good fun. Had some good friends. That is a cool portrait, though. She clatters the ice around her drink. You can smell the cheap gin from where you stand. But it's a hellhole everywhere these days. Can't drink enough to forget the things I've seen. I'm all for communism and anarchy and free love, but sometimes the F-state goes a little far. How do you mean? It's just the things like these turf wars and the racists and junk. You know, those humanist assholes. Unpleasant. Yes, that's, that doesn't... I mean, that's not usually, like... This is why the F-state doesn't make any sense. It's just a capitalist libertarian, which is the same as everything else in Shadowrun. It is not actually distinct. Anyway. But that should aside, I like the idea of a state without the man. It still has the man. Idiots. Listen, my name is Goldfish. What's yours? Where'd you get a name like Goldfish? Oh, you know the saying, memory like a goldfish? Because I'm blonde. People think I'm just like that. Plus, they call my twin Guppy, so Goldfish made sense for me. Oh, you have a twin. So what we're hoping to find down here? Robin Hood? She laughs heartily. Don't worry about it. You sure? I mean, if you're looking for Robin Hood, shouldn't you go to England or something? Seems really far away from this hole in the ground. Her expression grows stern for a moment as she stares into her empty tin gin and tonic. This place is like a grave. Maybe I've been down here long enough and now I'm a ghost. Alright, that's it, Fraulein. You're officially cut off. Your total is 36 new yen. Can I at least buy something for my friend here? She's been talking with me for a bit and hasn't had anything. No, you're cut off. I don't want you even sipping out of it. Dude, chill. Forget I asked. She turns to you with a shrug. So I couldn't get you anything else, but thanks for being a pal. You're welcome, Goldfish. talk to any of these people? Apparently not. Apparently they're too deep in contemplation. The drawers look to be handmade out of rusty sheet metal. Nothing of value catches your eye within. It smells like something died in here. Upon closer inspection, it's just moldy soy cakes. Okay, can't go over that way. Why are there like car wrecks down here? Is this a subway? So there's a ladder that goes up. Surface access has been welded shut, probably in an attempt to keep security tight. This is part of the, this is supposed to be a market. It used to be a big deal and now it's not. Let's talk to the odd merchant. Hello there, newcomer! I have many exciting and rare weapons for you to peruse. Instruments of death and sort you'll not find anywhere else in Berlin. Care to take a look around? Despite the shopkeeper's claims, her inventory looks decidedly poor. Most of these weapons appear rusty and in ill repair. A particularly cobbled-together pistol stands out for the bunch. Sure, let's see what you have. See anything you like? What's up with this shoddy-looking pistol? Exquisite, is it not? The work of a master craftsman who used to live here. Forged some of the finest slug throwers you'll find at the side of the Atlantic. And at that price, a steal! Looks like some of those parts are hot glued together. As I said, the work of a master craftsman. A weapon made by any other would simply break after being fired. I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's much here that would interest me. Well, it's been lean pickings lately around these parts, and on top of that, there's the militia. They need most of the best pieces to pick and keep us safe. Still, I've got some reliable weapons for home defense. I thought she was going to have her be selling our stolen weapons, but it sounds like she's all just got shit. The crate appears to have been pried hastily open. There's a partially torn shipping label on it. Most of the ink has been worn off, but the Kreutz Bazaar is still clearly visible. Okay, so we're going to talk to that guy. Alright, let's talk to this guy. Shopkeeper. Hi there, stranger. I got a sale on today. You interested in rations, salvage, some home remedies? I thought this was like a bloody stump of a horn at first, but it's just his hair. So that's much better. Let me see what you got for sale. Okay, we'll come back and ask him about the crate after we've talked to everyone else. I'm guessing we are not allowed in there. The militia captain stands at alert, her eyes tracking slowly across the market before coming to rest on you. Guten Tag. Oh, she looks nice. Oh, I don't want. Where's my not asking about either of them? You look like you keep a close eye on this Keats. Have you seen a shipment of weapons passed through recently? No, I would have noticed that. I didn't want to ever talk to, like, acknowledge it. Crates. These crates don't seem to be part of the shipment that was en route through the Kreutz Bazaar. Scuff marks. You notice a set of scuff marks on the ground, as if something heavy was dragged across here. The marks vanished into the wall. You can see them. Okay, we'll come back to that. Bathroom. The area is in extreme disrepair. Water is flooding out of the walls and stagnating in pools on the tile floor. You can smell the mildew from here. This appears to be an old U-Bahn information terminal. Judging by the system's design and current condition, it is quite old. As you approach, the machine makes a series of sputtering sounds as the dust-covered screen flickers dimly to light. Time since last update. Whatever that says. A bunch of numbers. Primary database not found. Restarting in offline mode. The screen goes dark as the machine begins to emit a bizarre variety of clicking and chirping sounds. After an interminable amount of time, the screen finally shudders back to life. Oh, the phone died again. Well, it's like, I was like, that cat is not sitting there like that. Welcome to Gazoon's Run-In Station. Please select an option from the menu below. Station history. Gazoon Run-In Station opened on April 18th, 1930, as the final stop on the U-Bahn's U-Oct line. It was designed by prominent U-Bahn architect Alfred Grenander. I thought she was just giving me the eyeball for a long time. No, she's sleeping. There we go. Construction on the U-Oct line began in 1914 under Allgemeine Elektrizitätsgesellschaft, but labor shortages, the First World War put the project on hold for over a decade. The eventual completion and opening of this home line between the New Köln and Gazoon-Run in 1930 represented a major step forward in connecting Berlin's working-class districts to the city center. During World War II, many unfinished tunnels and stations along the U-Oct line were converted into air raid shelters, including part of Gazoon-Brunner Station. In the decades following the war, the station also served as an emergency fallout shelter in the event of a nuclear attack. During the Cold War, the U-Oct line continued to run between New Köln and Gazoon-Brunn, taking it under the wall and through parts of East Berlin. The train would skip all East Berlin stations until it emerged on the far side near Gazoon-Brunn. Today, the U-Oct line continues to operate, carrying thousands of passengers through Gazoon-Brunn station on a daily basis. In addition, the former bunker at this location has been transformed into a popular museum exhibit showcasing the history and development of Berlin's underworld. Please inquire at the information kiosk for current museum rates and hours of admittance. You start to press the 4 key, only realize the key is missing from the keyboard. A thick layer of grime and dust rests in its place. Okay. Underworld? No. Bunker. What's that? Former bunker. Okay. And underworld now. They need to be capitalized? Darn. Thought I was being smart. We'll go back to that. Let's go talk to this guy. I assume he's not going to tell us anything. There's a crate behind you. Your shop looks like it was marked for delivery to the Kreutz Bazaar. You wouldn't happen to know about that, would you? Troll looked around nervously. No? I don't know anything about crates. Looking for some backup? It's just us here, friend. Okay, look. Yeah, the Robin Geister came by yesterday. Asked me to move the rest of these medical supplies. Then they disappeared. I don't know where they went. I mean, hey, I gotta make a living, right? Move around here. They leave me this kind of score, I'm grateful. Already sold most of it less than a day. Plenty of folks around here in need of real medical supplies. Alright, I told you what I know. So we're cool, right? I don't know anything else. Relax, I believe you. Times are tough. I'm sure those people needed that stuff. You're not gonna hurt me? Thank you, stranger. Everything's so understanding around here. Look, if you're looking for the Robin Geister, try the old information kiosk on the other side of the market. I've seen some people coming and going through there. Find a small seam in the wall that suggests there may be a passageway in the wall here, but you can spot no clear mechanism for opening it. Maybe we should ask around. This looks like the place, so I'm sure someone might spill the beans. Use your teammate to force open the wall. Yeah, go for it, Iger. It takes some doing, but your teammate manages to force open the false wall. The hinges give way with a scrape and a crunch, and the passage behind is revealed. I wonder what the actual keyword is. There's got to be a keyword to get that. Luckily, we brought Iger. Okay, I guess we don't get to go back. Game saved. Oh, hi! I wish I had more etiquette. This is the same man you met at the market, but the friendliness is gone from his face. In its place is cold, unwavering gaze. Oh, I knew it. Should have stuck to the market, stranger. If the Robin Geister wished to be found, we'd open a fucking cafe. And what do you want of us? Say your piece. I'm from the Kreutz Bazaar. You stole a shipment of supplies bound for our Keats. We want it back. He stares at you down for a long moment, then breaks into a chuckle. Guess we were a little careless on that one. Figured with Monica Schaefer gone, the Kreutz Bazaar would be an easy score. So that's why you're here? We stole your supplies, now you want them back? That's about right, yeah. Which I completely understand, stranger, believe me. But unfortunately, we need the supplies more than you do. So I'll have to graciously decline your offer to relieve us of your property. I mean, I feel like this is going to end in a shootout whatever I do, right? And I will graciously give you one chance to turn over the supplies before I shoot you in the face. That's very... Corin rolls his eyes suddenly, then turns to his crew. Did you imbeciles really not search them for weapons? For fuck's sake. Regardless, I'd hope to avoid bloodshed. We cannot back down on this. Sorry, stranger. Corin sighs and draws his rifle. Got you there, got you. I'm gonna run for cover before I activate drones. We're only gonna get one drone. So this one, this is the better one. We haven't used it yet though, so we don't know what it does. Whoa! That's pretty good. Increased chance of a critical hit. Alright, into that. If we go like over here. It's got a lot of armor, holy shit. Right. Oh, so this has lower base accuracy, but higher chance of crit. Oh, and he can Overwatch now. Okay, good. Ow. Oh, you can actually fire on my drone even though it's not active. That's interesting. I did not realize that you could do that. Wow, that was pretty pathetic. Oh shit! Blow up mine. Alright, you gotta go find get some cover, buddy. There. Probably just need to run up. The game. Oh. Sad. No, he's not dead yet. Oh, we got it. They're all empty. Okay. Just full of old SimSense recordings. Corin's keys. Wait, wasn't Corin up here? Oh, that was Corin back there. I thought he was the first guy we killed. Nerds! I think that says... Is that actually... No, it says NERPs. Yeah, but... What is that? Oh. Dunkelzahn, 2056. Something president. So that's the dragon. Apparently he ran for office. A standard cyber terminal waits on the table before you. The screen is active, displaying a basic list of simple data queries. Check inventory logs. It appears the Robin Geister keep a detailed inventory of their stolen goods. Quick scan of the data indicates that while the medical supplies bound for the Kreutz Bazaar are long gone, Gunnari's missing weapon shipment is currently in a storage locker at Frankenfurter Tor. The locker number is marked as 49. You copy the information to your PDA and forward it on to Gunnari. Alright. I got the Carnella. Welcome, guys. Thank you for the raid. How's it going? How was your stream tonight? Let's see here. So what are we're just going to look to leave? Yeah, we're just going to leave. Okay. So these guys did not tell us anything. So we can still talk to you. this guy. Okay. Whoops. Whoops, I'm out again. Hey, is she here? Okay, we'll take her. Stream was good? What were you streaming tonight? Yeah, let's go back to the Quartz Bazaar. Pokemon Platinum? Is that... I have no idea which generation that is. I don't know. I don't know my Pokemon very well. Considering I've only played 2 of them. You emerge from the Ubon station and out onto the familiar streets of the Kreutz Bazaar. The energy here is a stark contrast to the weary, slowly drowning mood of Gesundbrunnen. The Kreutzberg is an island of hope. Was that supposed to be Kreutz Bazaar around there? Kreutzberg? I'm not sure. Still afloat amidst the dangerous currents of the flux state, but it wouldn't take much for it to capsize. It's time to find Gunari and tell him the news. Hey, Gunari. Alright, thanks, Fiona. Good night. I will not be streaming too much longer. Welcome back. Need some weapons, some ammunition, perhaps? Took care of that business with the Robingeister. We won't be hijacking our shipments anymore. A faint smile praised across the normally taciturn merchant's face. Yes, and my people have already retrieved the shipment, exactly where you said it would be. Good work. How were you able to manage that? Things got a little messy, but I got the job done. Cold smile flickers across his face. Good. Sometimes a little mess is necessary. Here is your payment as promised. And should you need any new weapons, thanks to you I have some new merchandise available. Would you like to take a look? Yeah, let's see what you got. Oh, look at that. He's got a new fancy revolver, if you wanted to be a revolver ocelot. I suppose I could get one of those for Glory, but I think her gun's pretty bad. What even is this? An old school revolver with more damage and fewer combat. I think it looks like a fucking sawn off rather than a pistol, but I guess it's a pistol. Or it's just qualified as a pistol. Well, it says it's a revolver though. I guess you can kind of see the cylinders. SMGs. Shotguns. Rifles. Oh, there's a the Colt M23, This is your M16 continued. Ooh, look at that sniper rifle. Hopefully we'll find some of these for so we can give them to. Let's see, do I have anything to sell? No, not really. What does the grenade launcher count as? Oh, launcher. Apparently that's its own weapon class. Alright, do we think that we can, like, advance anything after that? Oh, hello again, my friend, and what can I do for you? How is Alexander doing? He is adjusting with difficulty. Samuel shakes his head. Your friend Dietrich took a chance in sending his nephew to us. I will do my best to justify his faith in me. Oh yeah, we can pay them now. We have the money. Fine donation. This will do a great deal of good. Thank you. With your donation, we have reached our first goal. Thank you so much for your kind assistance. I'll put your contribution to work stocking the shelter with blankets and heaters. But now we have stretch goals. Yes, might have friended. We are now ready to open up, yep, stretch goals to your donations once again. Thanks to your kind assistance, the shelter is now fully stocked with blankets and space heaters, and we've enough rice, salt, and barley to last through the winter. Rice, salt, and barley. Well, that's very, like, medieval. But it works. It's reliable. But guaranteeing the physical well-being of the Kreuz Bazaar's needy is only part of the equation. We must see to their mental well-being as well. Our next goal is to fully stock the library. For 350 new yen, we can make the purchase. Whatever you can spare would be most appreciated. Should I just pay him? I feel like I should just pay him more money. I'm gonna give it to him anyway. Eventually. That is incredibly generous. Thank you, meine Freundin. Not a big deal, Sam. Good to do with it. Marvelous. Truly marvelous. With this contribution, we have reached our second goal. We will put the money to use stocking the library with a full range of literature, philosophy, poetry, and training manuals. Thanks again for your help, Kate Wolf. You've been a tremendous difference to this community. Happy to help, Sam. Kreuz Bazaar needs more people like you, meine Freundin. The new library is marvelous, Kate Wolf. You have worked miracles for this organization. Our next goal is to purchase a set of Trode nets for our new work training program. I have high hopes for this plan. With these devices, we can teach job skills to the least educated members of our society in a fraction of the time it would take for them to learn them. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just gave you a bunch of money. How much do I have? 2,800? Okay. Maybe after our next mission, we'll come back and spend some more money on him. Over here-ish. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I figured, is that didn't really count as a real mission. But I also don't really want to go start the next one, because I'm about to get done with the stream. Oh, we talked to this guy. We didn't talk to this guy before. Or we didn't pry, rather. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Even from a distance, it is clear something is not right with Lane. Coming closer, you can see dried blood on his face and clothes, as well as a few discolored blotches that pass for bruises on troll skin. More noticeably, there's considerable damage to the man's left prosthetic leg, which he now tends to with tools as antiquated as the leg itself. Are you alright, Alexei? I'm fine. Nothing a few swings of a wrench can't fix, or a few swings of a crutch. Someone comes at me, thinks me weak, and I show him otherwise. Leaning to one side, Lane's crutch is caked in more blood and what appears to be bits of hair. Tell me who did this to you. Just a punk with some bad ideas. Forget about it. Are you sure you're alright? I've suffered far worse, as you might imagine, and I don't need you or anyone else babying me. I'll leave you be. What do you want? Okay, we can't, last time we had the option to ask him about the war, and we declined to pry. But I guess we don't have the option right now. Have you got any new stock? I mean, assume not. Nope. And I'm not worried about any of this. Wait, what's our other... Why did we have two things? Oh, they're just to the two U-Bahn. They're both going to the U-Bahn station. Okay, sure. Sure. doggy. I'm curious, Dietrich. Why did you switch from fronting a band to running the Shadows? Honestly, working the stage was getting boring, boss. Spitting and screaming at the world was fine and good when I was a kid, but just didn't do it for me anymore. The Dragon Slayer wanted me to fight a real enemy, so I left the band behind and I turned to the Shadows. He shrugs. I don't know, because I figured that'd be the best way to find one. So you became a mercenary? I don't feel like trying to fight a real enemy is to become a Shadowrunner. Like, they're just mercenaries. That's their definition of... Considering current events, I'd say that you're not wrong about that. Yeah, I guess not. Feels kind of daunting, truth be told, but it's exciting all the same. I've been looking for a worthy adversary for a while now. It's kind of satisfying having a white whale to chase. A worthy adversary? It's a fucking dragon. It's a little beyond a worthy adversary. How long have you been looking for a real enemy? He shrugs. Not too long. Ever since I took down the last one. The last one? Of course. Might be able to sit around feeling pleased with myself if I followed the Creator, or the Moon Maiden, or the Dragon Slayer. Ain't that kind of idle. If I'm not drinking, I'm fighting. If I'm not doing either of those things, I'm looking for a bigger, better fight to get in next time. Dietrich produces a flask from his jacket pocket and raises it in salute. It's a remarkably simple code to live by. Who was the last one? Gang boss, great big orcish bastard called the Wildschwein, or Wildschwein, maybe, in German. Led the local chapter of the Horde. I'd had my sights set on him and his for a while. He'd hurt a lot of people. I figured they'd pose a challenge. I wasn't wrong about that, but I took him out in the end. Dietrich, when does this pattern end? I mean, it ends with him dying. Well, boss, the way I figure it, it'll end with when I pick a fight I can't win. As I said. He smiles sadly. Might be this one, maybe the next. It'll be hard to top a great dragon. That's the way the Dragon Slayer wants it. And who am I to refuse him? Abruptly, he turns away. That's enough talk for today, boss. Besides, you got other things to do, I'm sure. I'm guessing, yeah, we are caught up on these two. Okay. Hello, doggy. Hello, doggy. Yeah. What is it with Deck? Why is this like parka thing in Decker fashion? Hi, Mary. Like Blitz has the same fashion, except he's at least got sleeves. I've got the parka vest. About to head to bed, but you wanted to drop by and say hello first. Thank you. I am about to get done too, so that's that works out. You're really great. Please do not let your dog get hurt. No, the dog cannot come with us on missions, fortunately. So that is not a danger. The dog only follows us around when we're in town. Thank you, though. Let's see, we do have... Okay, so we still don't have enough to get our next drone combat level. Good doggo. He's a good doggo. He's a nice guy. Oh, okay, I can talk to him. Woof. Oh, was there anything from the phone book? I don't think so. Or not the phone book, but phone booth. Lucky Strike shouldn't have anything to say, I don't think. Lucky Strike stands in her customary place, her gear piled atop a nearby bar stool. For once, she isn't smoking. She gives a small nod as you approach. Hey again, what's up? I've been meaning to ask, what's up with the tattooed circuitry? Is it purely decorative, or... It is now. Wasn't always, though. She stretches her neck so the circuit pattern on her face catches light. What you're looking at used to be tattoo magic. Got it done when I was in Tokyo doing a job for the Yakuza. What were you doing for the Yakuza? Work. Kind that you don't talk about afterwards. And when were you in Tokyo? About 3 years ago. Spent a few months there. It was a business trip, though. You know how it is. Straight from the airport, hotel, job site, back to the hotel again afterwards. Rinse and repeat until the job is done. Not the most exciting way to travel, but the pay was good. Tattoo magic, huh? It's a new one on me. Yeah, it was for me too. It's a meta magic thing. A way of quickening spells to a person, binding magic into the flesh so it's almost impossible to get rid of it. It's meta magic. I did not realize meta magic is like a fictional, like in the world of Shadowrun, there is an actual in-fiction thing called meta magic. I mean, I guess in D&D meta magic is probably an in-fiction thing too, but you'd never hear someone talk about it in character. Which is, I only know meta magic as a D&D thing, but I'm sure that I would assume that Shadowrun has meta magic mechanics, just because every RPG with magic has meta magic mechanics, I think. Anyway, long story short, I found a way to break it. Now it just looks pretty in the lamplight. What did the tattoos do before you broke them? She pauses for a moment, considering. Finally, she shrugs. Sure, I'll tell you. Why not? Maybe knowing will keep you from making the same mistake. So when I went to work for the Yaks, they offered, well, no, insisted that I let them ink me. Said I'd need it for the job. Long story short, the tattoos did boost my abilities, but they also branded me, marked me as Yakuza property, gave them an easy way of tracking me from the astral plane. How'd you break the spell? That's an even longer story, and not one I want to get into. Suffice it to say, it started with killing the guy who inked me, and ended in a pretty dark place. The upshot is, I can't go back to Japan. Ever. But at least I got my autonomy back. She pauses for a moment to light up another cigarette. After she fills her lungs with smoke, she continues. So the moral of the story, I guess, is not to take an employer's word at face value. It's a lesson that every Shadowrunner needs to learn sooner or later, but I had a harder time with it than most. So is she like a character from something else? Like from a Shadowrun novel or something? She's very, like, filled in. This feels like a... Because there was, I mean, this is a very different example, but in Shadowrun Returns, there's Harlequin. Here is a Shadowrun, like, meta character, or like, what do we call it, overarching plot character. And he shows up to basically be like fucking the same thing as like Dritz or something. That's basically his function. It was bad. Or her? Them? I don't really remember. Anyway. Now, can we talk about something else? Or better yet, can we shut up and have a drink or two? All this yapping is making me thirsty. You said you got a team in Mida. I'd like to hear more about them. She shrugs. They're good people. They get the job done. What else do you need to know? Well, the name's for one. You know my team. I'd like to know something about yours. Alright, sure. Why not? We've got Ractor. He's a rigger, an immigrant from the Russian Republic. Genius mechanic and engineer. The guy built his own crawler form drone. He's impressive as hell at piloting it. What is a crawler form drone? I think she's filled in because you can hire her. Yeah, I mean, well, there are a bunch of mercs you can hire, right? So this is just the only one you're actually going to talk to. But yeah, it might just be an original character just for, you know, just to have her here. She's got a lot of backstory. There's Barracuda, the team shaman and face man. They actually call him the face man, or the face. He's an elf in his mid-40s, and he's got the whole silver fox thing working for him. He conducts most of our negotiations. Great card player. I guess when you're actually like, because the Shadowrunners like do have the whole negotiation thing as a standard part of their thing, that having an actual designated face makes more sense. Like recognizing it that you have a designated face. Hanshin is our decker and requisite tough guy. Troll. Huge, covered in tats and piercings, you know the type. Pretty sure he and Barracuda have a thing going on, but they'll never cop to it. She presents herself to you with an ironic smile. And then there's me. Between us, we keep our bases covered. I could still try and get her hire her, which is not gonna happen. Sounds that way. How are they to work with? Solid. We're all on the same page. Nobody's afraid to speak his mind. Their mind? We all get it how a crew of anarchist runners is supposed to work. Even Ractor is still pretty new to the scene here in Berlin. Gets tense from time to time, but it's supposed to get tense. Better than to have to defer to a leader and follow orders. We're all free, and we know it. Yeah, no leadership. Anyway, enough about them. I don't come here to talk about work. Is something else you want to talk about? Yeah, see ya. Alright, bye, Lucky Strike. Alright, that's probably good. I guess we can check on Simi. See if she's okay, but I assume so. Oh no! God, everyone's getting hurt. Fuck! Simikin leans against a wall, her head downcast and her face lost in the shadow. Sensing your presence, she looks up, revealing a black eye poorly covered by concealer. And still she smiles at you. Hey, Kate Wolf. How are you? Who gave you the shiner? I don't know what you're talking about. Do you want something? Because I got things to do, you know. Zach says he has a new sim for me. One with aliens and a little girl I need to save. She's waiting for me and I can't let her down. Is there something going on around here? There's always something going on. It's the flux, right? Gives it takes. Sometimes it takes more than it gives. Sometimes it takes secret fond forever. Friends that disappear. Family that dies. People like Monica. I don't much like the flux. In The Sims, you can have the same happy days over and over. You can skip past the parts you don't like. Replay the good moments as many times as you want. I can't think of any parts of real life I'd want to play over. Plenty of parts I wish I could skip. How'd you end up in the Kreutz Bazaar? I don't know. I was living on the streets since I was a kid. I had no family, no home. Got mixed up with some bad people. I had a bad day. Ended up owing them money. Too much money. I got beat up. Pretty bad. Needed a doctor but couldn't pay for one. And then I found Doc Escabel. Or he found me. I can't really remember. He said he could help me. Gave me the money up front. But he said I had to come back for medicine every month until it was time to pay him back. And I did. I took the medicine just like he said. I really don't want to talk about this anymore, okay? This is going to be an awful story as well. There are a lot of awful stories in this game, evidently. Mostly from the women. Like, I guess Blitz has a sad story, but it didn't really make... I was kind of like, maybe you're just an asshole, Blitz. Like, you didn't get the shit kicked out of you like these people did. Didn't get assaulted. Ugh. Okay, I think we're good for right now. Yeah, we're good for tonight. Go do the this medical job thing next time, maybe. Excuse me. Let's save the game. And thanks to everyone for joining me tonight. Shadowrun Dragonfall. Come back next Tuesday with more of this. So we'll continue on to do that next mission that we already picked up. Tomorrow night I will not be streaming since I switched my day off back to Wednesday. So I'll be back Thursday with Stellar Spotting, probably. The other games that I play, you can see below the stream. If you follow me for notifications when I go live, you can sub for emotes of my cats. This one? Hey, Rosa. Oh, sleepy Rosa. We'll go sleep soon. Yeah. I really appreciate everybody who watches and everybody who chats. And I hope to see you again. Bye.
So long, farewell to you, my friends. Good long farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Goodbye for now, until we meet again.